Lap 1, we've seen issues before. I'm nervous for these playoff drivers.
Front row, Daniel Hemrick in the orange, number 18. Austin Cindric on his outside in the 22, a little slipping already. Too wide, and Justin Allgaier in the 7 slides up the racetrack just a bit as he exits turn 2.
Carl on that inside line on the restarts down into turn 1 and 2 is going to have a real hard time keeping the rear grip in the car. There's no side force with those cars on the outside of you. Justin maybe being a little more careful than we may see later in the race.
Well, they made it through lap 1, which is better than a year ago when a lot of the playoff drivers were caught up in an accident. And now side by side a little bit further back. Still fighting for positions. Again, every position on the racetrack is worth a point. And the top 10 at the end of stage 1 all received points, as well as at the end of stage 2. And up front now, a little more heat between the 18 and the 22 as those two have separated themselves. Hemrick trying to stay in front of Austin Cindric. Cindric told us in the garage earlier, he said there's a good possibility I'll be up against the wall in lap 3. So he hasn't taken a lot of, I guess, credence with the inside of this racetrack being the fastest way around. He wants to be at the top.
Well, if the leader's on the bottom of the racetrack, Rick, he's going to try to go where he can find some clean air, but it's going to take a few opportunities for him to find where the speed is in that high line. We saw him go up to the top in 1 and 2. Let's see what it does down here again in 1 and 2. Didn't like it, so back to the bottom of the racetrack. He's going to try to get to the bumper of this 18 car, see if he can upset Hemrick aerodynamically by getting close enough to him. But every time a driver goes to the top or the middle of the racetrack, it takes a few corners to really understand how to maximize the speed up there. It won't happen right away.
Yeah, you have to learn
really
how
loose.
to do it.
Sorry, Jeff. Really loose right there, fighting the car.
And that dirty air, we saw the 22 get a little bit sideways, but that dirty air, when you're following behind somebody else, is that why you're trying to find a different line than being right behind them?
Well, some of it's dirty air, but sometimes you're just looking for grip. This racetrack, we talked about, it has multiple grooves. That means the racetrack allows you to go to different places. So, yes, you may be looking to get away and get more downforce, get out of that dirty air, but in many cases, this racetrack, you're just looking for more grip that the track provides.
We go back to the start of the race. Take a look at the 7. Justin Allgaier. And right there, Noah Gragson, which is a teammate of his from Junior Motorsports. He slid right up the racetrack just behind him.
You can see that car on the bottom, just not enough grip. Really loose and edgy off into turn 1. And the 22 here in turn 3 and 4. Big slide right there.
Noah Gragson still holding on to the 3rd spot right now, 0.6 of a second back, Marty.
Yeah, Rick, you see him gaining ground on those top 2 of Austin Cindric and Daniel Hemrick. And I talked to Noah, who's always one of those first to the top of the racetrack. And he brought up an interesting point. He said not only the weather conditions today, but he said we're really the first cars on the racetrack who might go up there, and it's pretty dirty up there. That concerns me. So Junior, as a guy who always was the first to the top of the racetrack, what is it like to clean that off? Kind of explain what Noah's talking about.
Well, when you go up there, it is a little dirty, but a few corners or a few laps around the racetrack, you'll clean it off. But the first guy that goes up there is going to be one of the quickest, but also he's going to be wearing his tires. We've got a great battle here for the lead. Wherever you go where there's clean racetrack, where there's not a lot of rubber down, it's going to be a little bit more tire wear. So when me and Steve were working together later in my career, we would always try to be the 2nd or 3rd place guy up there. Let somebody else go up there, wear their tires out, do potential damage to their tires, and then you go up there later and find the speed.
And Junior, it took patience because being the first up there was an advantage. That fresh racetrack really found some grip, but it just wasn't worth it with the length of these races.
Well, you mentioned, Marty just mentioned that these are the first cars on the racetrack. No truck race before them, so that means less rubber on the racetrack and more opportunity to wear these tires out early. We had an ARCA practice, but very few cars and not a lot of laps. So this will be the most difficult on the tires of the weekend, this very first run.
You see Daniel Hemrick moving around, trying to race out the back of the race car looking in the mirror wherever that 22 is going. He's trying to take that line away. If the 22 is finding speed and pace a little bit higher up the racetrack, he continues to move up the track to try to do the same. Parker.
Well, guys, that's exactly why Austin Cindric, he goes that outside to try and get to the outside of Daniel Hemrick. Wasn't using before. He was trying to conserve those tires as they're side by side down the backstretch. What a pass.
Cindric's going to take the lead away from Hemrick. Hemrick fights back on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get that lead back.
Well, I think right there, guys, every spotter on the spotter stand saw how high Austin Cindric went that time. He went higher than everybody, and now that's going to drive everybody to the top. Not the middle of the racetrack, to the very top of the racetrack. See right there, the 18 car? He just got past. Where'd he go? He went straight to the wall. Immediately, 5, 6 cars went straight to the wall. That was the cue. It worked. Go get there.
Cindric has made the pass. He's out front, trying to get a better average finish at this racetrack, trying to get to victory lane.
We've had a million nights just like this.
AR Racing is back in NASCAR Mobile. Customize your car and compete head-to-head against Cup Series playoff drivers to earn points and move up the leaderboard. Search NASCAR in your app store. You can download for free to start playing today. You're watching the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs. Kansas Lottery 300 as the 54, Ty Gibbs. The young man, just 18 years old, already 3 wins on the season. The 54 has won 10 times with numerous different drivers. He's fighting for position now. Noah Gragson in the 9 on the outside, and here comes Justin Allgaier in the 7.
Really interesting right there. Justin Allgaier saw Ty Gibbs go to the bottom of the racetrack. Well, he put his car on Ty Gibbs' door, pulled the air off of him, got him really loose, and now he's attacking his teammate, Noah Gragson.
Yeah, the races between these guys have been pretty interesting. You got 2 playoff guys, Junior Motorsports team, and the 54 who's not in the playoffs. And we've seen Ty be aggressive with just about anybody on the racetrack. I'm sure he's pretty frustrated with that move by Justin Allgaier, who'd been running the wall to get down on your door like that and make you loose intentionally. Really frustrating for a driver.
How do you do that? How do you make somebody loose intentionally?
Well, there's side force on these cars when they run by themselves, and if you get on the right rear quarter panel of another car, you take the air off that side. So the side force is gone from the inside car, the 54 car in this case. If we go down to the corner and Justin gets back down to the quarter panel, it takes the air off of that 54, and he will get loose because he loses that side force and that support that the aerodynamics is giving him.
And once again, a close call between the 54 and 7 as we come up on lap 20. Now, again, around lap 20, we're going to see a competition caution. This was earlier. This is what you're talking about, that side force going, wow.
Yeah, you see the back try to come around on the 54, and he's trying to do everything he can to save the race car. Justin's really lucky he didn't get contact there.
It's just a real aggressive move from Justin to go down there.
Too aggressive.
Early, it's early to have it.
I'm trying to, not be biased here, but yeah, it's pretty aggressive. He's a non-playoff driver. It's early in this race. I know Justin wants to race. Every point matters. There's a caution out on the racetrack, but every point matters. We talk about it all the time, and you see those guys racing hard. They're proving their point.
So this is the competition caution, no practice, no qualifying. So this is an opportunity if the teams decide they bring the cars to pit road. Steve, as a crew chief, what are you going to do to your car, or do you call your car in?
Yeah, I'm going to watch my car go by the entrance of pit road and stay on the racetrack. They only have 4 sets of tires for the race, so you need a set at the end of stage 1, you need a set at the end of stage 2, and you have to put a set on somewhere in that final stage because of the length of the stage. So I would save that extra set, that 4th set. Tires lose grip here. They slow down. We've already seen lap time slow down over a second. As much as I want to win this stage, I want to have a fresh set of Goodyear tires I can bolt on if we have a late race yellow in this race there, Marty.
Steve, we saw it with Ty Gibbs there, but you also saw it with Noah Gragson. All these race cars are extremely loose. In fact, Noah said, I would love to run all the way against the wall. He's leaving a little bit more room, but free on entry does not equal good things here at Kansas. So kind of add that to your formula, Steve. All these drivers really, really free right now. I think those tires might be a welcome addition on any race car.
Well, I think if you pit right here, Rick, there's zero doubt you have the best chance to win this stage. And that is 10 points. And in this points battle, it's very, very important. The risk is if you take a set of tires here and someone else chooses not to, while you're going to look smart here in 25 laps, the fear is, shake your magic 8 ball. How many yellows are we going to see in that final stage? That's really the challenge and the anxiety these crew chiefs have.
And you can also hope that this cycle on tires, not coming to pit road, allowing the tires to cycle, will change the balance in your favor as well if you're a loose race car.
Pit road is open. The green light there below the Sunoco sign. It is lit, which means pit road open, but nobody decides to come to pit road. So we'll take a quick break. Be right back for the restart here at Kansas Speedway. get in gear for the playoffs. Check out the greatest selection of t-shirts, hats, and die-cast, and more for all your favorite drivers. Visit NASCAR.com/shop. So not very many drivers decided to come to pit road, Parker, so it was a little bit lonely down there, I'm guessing.
Well, of course, yes. But we had a couple trickle in a little further back in the pack. But for the 22 of Austin Cindric, you guys know how important radio communication is. It's that communication between the driver and the team that allows you to work on that car and make it better through a race. We'll take a listen to the radio of the 22 just before this caution.
Copy, already getting way darker with the line for left side.
He sounded pretty quiet there. Is he quiet to you?
Yeah, I couldn't hear a word he said.
He was talking about the rubber being laid down in that lane, but he was quiet, kind of scratchy.
And that can be frustrating to not be able to hear exactly the driver saying, the spotter and the crew chief then having to relay what they're hearing from the driver. That can just add a little bit of time to getting that information when you need it desperately, Dylan.
And Parker for Daniel Hemrick there in the 18 car. His report, just the race car on top of the racetrack. We saw him lead early, then get passed by the 22 car. Said he feels like his security went away on entry, so he can't attack as high or as hard as he would like to. So keep in mind as well, they don't have a notebook with Joe Gibbs Racing here. Daniel doesn't, that is. He's obviously really good here. Has had a lot of success here in the past, but first time here at Kansas with crew chief Dave Rogers, so they are learning what they need. But feel like when they get the race car good for Daniel, he's as good as anybody here at searching around and kind of self-medicating that race car. So going to have a little bit of work to do here the first time they come down pit road, but still confident behind the wheel of this 18 car.
Thanks, Dylan. Let's listen into the radio for the 7 team, Justin Allgaier.
Take long to stop and rub it down.
No, I mean, it was pretty much instant, especially that top lane. Like, the bottom put some down, but then it's like we picked it back up, and the top is just staying down.
Yeah, I can see it from here.
Here it is, the first, 3 laps, we laid a bunch down on the bottom, and then when not many people went down there, we started picking it back up.
Pretty interesting to see the lane choices, guys. The 22 car picking the inside. We know that inside's a little slick. You're not able to complete the throttle coming back up off turn 2. See if that benefits those guys choosing that inside.
54 was in 5th place. Now he's lined up in 3rd by picking the bottom.
Coming back for the restarts.
Daniel Hemrick able to stay to the outside of this 22 off into turn 1.
3 and 4 wide behind him. Hemrick looks to the middle of the racetrack as Cindric really high, running that high line already right on this first lap of the restart. It's Cindric, Hemrick, Allmendinger, Ty Gibbs, Noah Gregson, the top 5. We're seeing that bright yellow number 19 of Brandon Jones come into the picture now. 2-time winner here at Kansas.
A little different look on this restart. Remember, the caution came out, but most of these leaders opted to stay on the racetrack, so these were used tires. I think that's why you see directly to the top as quickly as they can get there.
Riding along with Brandon Jones in that Toyota onboard.
Brandon is not going to be able to clear the 9. He's going to have competition by the 7 car trying to get to the quarter panel as well.
Playoff points in the lower left corner of your screen. We mentioned Cindric and Allmendinger had pretty good lead over the rest of the field. Right now with Cindric up front, he's going to be at the top of the list. A win automatically advances you into the next round of the playoffs.
Crash on the front straightaway. The 48 car.
Big hit for Jade Buford. The front end of that car destroyed. Jade Buford.
26 came off the wall and turned him.
When the Olympic break happened, Jade Buford, actually a part of American Ninja Warrior, an athletic driver. But in this situation, saying that another car may have been involved in this.
There you see the damage.
So
Dylan
there's
Lupton.
Yeah, there's a left rear tire down on the 26 with some damage to a tire mark on the left rear. You have to imagine they got together and Jade was on the inside and turned him around.
Fluid coming out of that race car now is the AMR safety team. They're attending to Jade Buford.
Big announcement a few weeks ago for this 48 team next year, and a tighter association with Richard Childress Racing, looking to move this program forward and up the grid. A little bit of help from RCR. I know they're excited about that for next year, but this is not the way they wanted to finish up this season.
There you see Jade climbing out of the car. Always a great sign. Let's see what happened, guys.
Oh, the 26 high, and when he comes off the wall, turns left perhaps, and looks like he catches the 48, and at this point the 48's already got around and made contact.
Did the 26 get into the wall and then bounce off of it?
It's hard to say, but that's what it looked like. Look at that hit.
Wow.
Man, a huge impact.
Yeah, it looked like the 26 was in the wall first and then came off of the wall.
Easy to get into the wall off turn 4. You're running that high side, and the car starts sliding. If you're running the high side and you losing grip off the corner, you're going to get into the fence.
So you look kind of at the top left of your screen, you're going to see a dark black colored car right there touch the wall, and that moves them off. Now it's behind that blue car, but there's definite contact between the 26 and the 48 at that point, and the 48 was then kind of, as it came past the camera, was turning back to the right, which is a very bad position for a race car driver. And then you see the huge accident, big contact for the 48. You see the damage to the race car.
Yeah, I don't think Jade was expecting the 26 to come back down after hitting the wall. He was coming up and just some contact. Let's hear what Dylan was saying.
I'm sorry, guys. Literally just takes off on me.
Talking about the car literally just taking off on him. Like I said, you know, you're running that high side. You only got a few feet before you make contact with the wall, and if you lose control of the car, you're absolutely going to hit it. So he hits it, glances off the wall, makes contact with Jade, and unfortunately for Jade, that's going to end his day.
So the 48 heads back into the garage on the hook, and the 33-year-old from Nashville, Tennessee will end the day just 30 laps into this race. And pit road will be open again, so we'll see if anyone takes advantage of this caution to come onto pit road for adjustments or tires.
And we talked about, you know, the strength of this playoff field when everybody's racing for. We have 7 of our 8 playoff drivers in the top 8 of the race. The only guy not in the top 8, Justin Haley, currently in 11th. We'll see if Haley wants to come gamble, take tires, or make adjustments. I think he probably will just stay on the racetrack and try to get a better restart. We see these positions move around so much on these restarts.
Sure enough, everybody passing by the entrance to pit road. And so we'll reset the field when we come back, and it will be a sprint to the finish of stage 1. Only 14 laps still to go.
worked out for a guy.
Worked out for him. And
NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Credit One Bank, official credit card of NASCAR. Visit gocreditone.com. And by Ford, built Ford proud. Let's listen into Justin Allgaier as he was talking about the last restart.
All right, so time to start right, did everything right, and get past. Yeah, doing everything I can timing-wise. Fell away and then drove back to me and find me.
That's correct.
So Justin talking about struggling. Let's watch it right here. He's on the inside. Brandon Jones behind him. We know that Brandon had a great restart, gained a lot of spots by choosing that inside line, and that's what happened. He got put 3 wide before they got to turn 1. So now the 7's in the middle, Jeff, and struggle with the 0-2. Moffitt coming around the top, making things even more difficult for Justin.
yeah, so being 3 wide in the middle is not what you want to be, and Brandon Jones did a great job of getting a launch and put the 7 car in a bad spot. So Justin Allgaier just got 3 wide, actually 4 wide there for a moment, and continued to lose spots. What he was saying was, look, I got a great start. I don't know what to do different. I don't know how to do that better. He was right against the rear bumper of the car in front of him. It's just the car behind him did a better job.
It's going to be tough, though, to pick that bottom. You know, if you're Justin especially, you saw the first start, the initial start of the race where he lost positions, and then that start right there. So what does he do going forward? Do you try that outside and maybe see if you can make some better gains on that top?
And remember the rule, right? So you want to block that 19 car from getting underneath you, but you can't change lanes until you get past the start-finish line. So even if you pick the bottom lane, you're established in that bottom lane. You can't go onto the apron before the start-finish line. So if somebody times it right and gets to the start-finish line, and just as they get there, they hang that left and get underneath you, it's very hard to defend.
I want to check in with Dylan on the 54 of Gibbs.
And he runs in that 3rd spot. Big day for Ty. Of course, he'll wrap up the ARC Menard Series Championship later on this evening when he takes the green flag. But up 7 spots here in the first 34, 35 laps. And talking with his crew chief, Chris Gale, that was something that they actually were somewhat looking forward to, starting in the 10th spot. So that was going to be a big opportunity for Ty to learn where he's fast and how he can kind of dictate the race car and move around on this racetrack. You know, keep in mind, he's obviously had a lot of success this year, won 3 times, but still limited laps in these Xfinity Series cars on these intermediate style tracks, the 1.5-mile racetrack. So this was going to be a good opportunity early for them to just learn and for Ty to figure out where he can go on the racetrack and how hard he can push. And as we've come to expect from him, he's a pretty quick learner and has done a good job here so far as he's up 7 spots.
Yeah, one thing, guys, this long caution is making this next restart really important. Right now, 11 laps to go to the end of this stage, and we're going to pay points at the end of this stage. So if you make a mistake on this next restart, you're not going to have as much time to recover. And on top of that, based off of what Dylan was just talking about, trying to learn what your car needs on a long run, trying to learn what your car needs to do later, you're not learning that at the moment because you're just not going to get a long run here because they're still cleaning the racetrack up.
And you mentioned cleaning the racetrack up. So when they get ready for the choose rule, guys, will that affect it? Because now that's that inside line. Do you choose the inside line knowing that this is something that you've got to go through on the restart?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that would affect what line I wanted to be in. It really is a matter of how many cars have chosen either the inside or outside. And I prefer to be in the outside line, especially if I'm not on the front row with clean air. If I've got to be a car that wants to jump to the top, what Brett Moffitt did on that last restart is exactly what I'd want to be doing every restart all weekend long. Now, you got to put yourself in that position to choose that outside line, and we'll see who does.
And Brett Moffitt, entering turn 1 so high, just gave a prescription to everybody. This will work, right? You can go do this. The same way we saw when Austin Cindric went to the top of the racetrack. The entire field 2 laps later was running on the top. Spotters and drivers saw that 0-2 of Moffitt go to the wall on that restart, and it worked for him. You're going to see a lot of other ones do it now.
Brett Moffitt driving for Our Motorsports, full-time now in the Xfinity Series and Truck Series champion. Actually, he's won here at Kansas in a truck. And so now Brett will be making the decision which line he wants to restart in. Tell me about the choose rule, drivers. As far as Junior, you just mentioned you could choose the inside, but you want to know how many people are in front of you. Are the spotters telling them that?
Getting that information, well, you'll talk about it during the week with your crew chief, and you'll have numbers that you think you know, to choose the inside line, I need this many cars to choose the top and so forth. But yeah, the spotter is giving you that information as you're rolling up to the line. You kind of hang back, give yourself a little room so you can make that choice at the last minute. If you're all up on the back bumper of the car in front of you, you cannot make that choice properly and give your spotter enough time to give you all the information you need.
Yeah, and what you're having to do as a driver is spotters counting cars, right? One to the bottom, one to the top, and he's going to tell you which is the shortest line. Ultimately, you know what the strength of your car is and the guys around you, right? Like that guy right there, I know he's going to jump up on the outside of me, so maybe I want to try a different line because of what he's going to do. So let's see where they go. Got one to the bottom, two to the top, another one to the bottom. Now I think it's just counting cars. What's the shortest line?
So if you're a spotter in the back here, maybe your car, you know, you got 14 cars in front of you. Your spotter's going to count either how many are in the bottom or how many in the top. He'll go, all right, we got 6 up top. All right, so if you go to the top, you're going to be behind 6 cars. There's 9 up top. Well, that's you're going to lose positions if you're 15 and you choose up there. So that's one. The spotter's going to tell you basically how many he's choosing in one line, and you do the math yourself.
What this long yellow has done, Rick, has made this a sprint to the end of stage 1 right now. And just to remind everybody, in the bottom left, you see how points are awarded. So to win this stage, you're giving 10 points. The top 10 all receiving points. So a point of position. If you're not on the top 10, you miss out. 0 points awarded. So these playoff guys, we talk about the playoff battle, 2 seats guaranteed to advance by points alone, regardless of who wins. So this is that first moment. No matter how great of a day you have, if you miss out on those stage points, you can run second in the race and end up with like 9th or 10th when it comes to total points. So this is the big moment in this race for these playoff drivers.
Yeah, this is late race restart intensity right now in stage 1.
Coming up on 8 laps to go to finish out stage 1. Pace car makes its way onto pit road. So Austin Cindric on the inside, Daniel Hemrick on the outside. Brandon Jones 3 wide in the middle in that yellow 19.
3 wide for the lead. A.J. Allmendinger to the bottom, going to clear both the 22 and the 18 of Hemrick.
Here comes Hemrick. He fights back on the inside. Maybe a little contact even with Cindric. Hemrick's out front now. 3 wide behind him for 4th. You mentioned it. Things were going to heat up.
Hemrick up the racetrack, though. A.J.'s going to have momentum here. He's going to the bottom of the racetrack.
All the way down to the apron, and that's fair game anywhere on the asphalt. And once again, Allmendinger's up front.
Now Allmendinger needs to go to the top of the racetrack. Passing him on the bottom will be the most difficult thing. So give them the bottom, don't give them the top.
And Hemrick needs to get in the mirror and run the top. Let Cindric attempt it on the bottom as we see a battle between the 54 and the 9.
Gibbs is going to slide right in front of Noah Gragson.
Oh, he's loose. Man, Gibbs is sideways in front of Noah.
Noah went to the bottom. Here comes Myatt Snyder all the way on the apron trying to make it 3 wide. Great restart from Myatt.
And Myatt Snyder all the way up the racetrack. Now here comes the 54 once again. Ty Gibbs loose entering turn 1. He has to get out of the gas. 54 very loose. The 19, maybe a little contact there with the 11 of Haley.
Awesome job by Myatt Snyder to drive his car up into the top 5 here late in this stage. Ty Gibbs back to the inside. Myatt's going to try to side draft down this front straightaway and defend so he can keep the top preferred line into turn 1. Slide job here from the 54.
Yeah, Junior.
It's going to slow him down right here. Myatt back to the bottom. He recognizes that opportunity.
I was going to mention, right, 2 non-playoff guys. That kind of takes 2 points away from the rest of the playoff guys.
And right up against the wall, Daniel Hemrick coming up on 4 laps to go in stage 1.
It's a big stage for Hemrick. A top 2, top 3 here. That's exactly what he wants to do today, all day long in these stages.
Allmendinger, after a great restart up front, under 4 laps to go in stage 1, has a 0.3 of a second lead over Hemrick. Cindric right behind him. And now how aggressive do you get at the end of the stage?
Hemrick's trying to do things right here. He's getting a good push off the nose of that 22 car down the front straightaway. He's not going to really have an opportunity here to go to the bottom. Follows AJ into the corner, trying to get to the back bumper to upset this car of AJ Allmendinger. He does. He's able to get to the inside here down the back straightaway, Jeff.
Yeah, good, strong battle. Let's see what Allmendinger does. Does he go in there and side draft, or does he run the high line? Stays high. Hemrick going to try to slide up in front of him, just couldn't do it. Pretty conservative play right there, not wanting to make a mistake.
He's there to side draft down the front straightaway again.
At the lead with just 2 laps to go on the stage.
AJ on the preferred high line here. The 22, though, is going to close that gap. Is that going to cost the 18 car a spot down the back straightaway? Austin had the opportunity to go to the inside, but he does not want the bottom line. He knows that's going to cost him a position to the 54 car. He chose to run the top and stay in 3rd place.
And now they come up on the final lap of stage 1. Allmendinger, Hemrick, and Cindric. 1, 2, 3. Ty Gibbs back and forth.
That's a great job by risk management for Hemrick. He could have gotten out of control there, going to do too much and try to win this stage. He settles in here. This is amazing for this team going forward to be able to get 2nd place stage points.
All 3 of these drivers, Ty Gibbs, he is the driver's not in this point battle. He's going to be aggressive, but all these other 3 guys, they just want to end this stage with good, solid points.
No contact made there, and Allmendinger is going to win stage 1 at Kansas. Hemrick, Cindric, Gibbs, Allgaier in the top 5. Just behind them, Myatt Snyder, a great restart. Noah Gragson, Brandon Jones, Justin Haley, and Michael Annett all in the top 10.
And one name you don't see in the top 10, a playoff driver, Harrison Burton, 11th in that stage, no points gained.
He was already in the bottom 2 of these top 8 playoff drivers. He'll be fighting to get up front in stage 2. But it's Allmendinger, one of the points leaders in the Xfinity Series, who wins stage 1. Start your Tundra. NASCAR fans, you could be one of the first to drive off in the all-new 2022 Toyota Tundra. Visit NASCAR.com/startyourtundra and enter now. end of stage 1, pit road open. And Steve, they're going to want to get those fresh Goodyear tires now.
Yeah, there's no decision now. I expect to see all of the cars come to pit road. Not a lot of creativity when it comes to strategy here. It's going to be 4 tires, so just the pressure goes from the drivers on that restart to now the pit crews. Well, all the leaders off the banking onto pit road, Parker.
Right, and Austin Cindric, who finished 3rd in that stage, was a little frustrated with that restart from losing the lead. Otherwise, car balance-wise, he was very happy in that 22 car. Just felt like it was a matter of losing the lead on the restart, the reason they weren't able to win the stage. 4 Goodyear tires for that, Marty.
A.J. Allmendinger started 3, Parker, but he said as the rubber laid down on the racetrack, the car got tighter. You see the wedge adjustment, also an air pressure adjustment for A.J. Allmendinger, trying to free up the car just a little bit.
Crew Chief Dave Rogers really happy with how his driver Daniel Hemrick raced there at the end of stage number 1 to get him some valuable points. Just want to connect the corner a little bit better and need some more entry and exit stability. It'll be a chassis adjustment, 4 tires and fuel for Hemrick.
And as they come off pit road, they race to the white line, pit road speed to the yellow line. So a couple spots by the 22 team, gaining 2 positions, and Ty Gibbs also gains a couple. Take a look at playoff drivers and the points that they were able to earn in stage 1. Again, no one has won in the playoffs yet as far as playoff drivers, and so they haven't locked themselves in. Every point very important. And you see Harrison Burton, we've heard that right front tire worn out quite a bit. He was not able to finish in the top 10, so receives no stage points to end stage 1. And Allmendinger, who won stage 1, had a change of some of the pit crew members there and might not have worked out for the best here.
Well, not in this specific stop right here. It seems to be going so far so good on the right side, but then issues with lug nuts falling off. That's what that changer's doing right there. Picking the lug nut off the ground, wisely putting it back on. So while you hate to see a slow pit stop at over 17 seconds, what I appreciate is that pit crew member realizing that a loose wheel after the restart would be way worse for this team when it comes to points. At some point, all you can do is recover, and that's what they did. So we'll see if he can now recover by getting those positions back on the racetrack.
You mentioned a team change, Rick. A.J. Allmendinger he has Ross Chastain's cut pit crew. He's been using Austin Dillon's. So a little change this week. Didn't start out very well, but a lot of pit stops left.
Also an issue on the 7 car, Justin Allgaier. Going to restart back in around 15th position.
Pit crew member fell down while they were going around the car there. So getting ready 2 by 2 to come back to the restart here and the start of stage 2. Side by side for the lead, Ty Gibbs on the outside in the 54. Cindric working right along the apron. Trying to keep the momentum up. The 54, but the 22 able to easily clear, slides up in front of him. Noah Gragson now fighting for that 3rd spot with Daniel Hemric. Utilizing those fresher tires, able to run down in the bottom of the racetrack. Michael Annett in the 1, back behind the wheel of the 1. He's clearing the 11 of Haley, and a good run for Michael Annett.
Michael Annett ran really well last week as well. Remember, he said he's going to retire from driving, full-time driving at the end of this year. Good battle here. Battles all over the track. Ty Gibbs all over Austin Cindric.
Gragson able to clear Hemric there on that high line. Gragson up to 3rd, Hemric back to 4th. Austin Cindric now about a 0.2 of a second, 0.3 of a second lead over Gibbs. Gragson and Hemric all within a second of Cindric.
This is where this track gets interesting. When you have cars that are faster, obviously faster, but it's difficult for them to make that pass on the bottom of the racetrack, at least early in the race. Now, late in the race, I think that bottom improves. You may even win the race down there, but there for a moment, the 54 car had a little more pace than our leader in the 22 and couldn't find a way around because the top was taken, the preferred line was taken.
And the other thing that happens, you see some cars that can really take off fast on restarts and then don't run well on long runs. See a lot of changing. If you get a long run, it can kind of surprise you. You can lose a ton of speed at the end of it.
Watching this little batch of cars right here. The 7 car Justin Allgaier down there on the right side of the screens climbed in to almost a top 10 position right there as he battles Harrison down the front straightaway. So he's working his way back into the picture here, but it gets tougher because all these guys are running the high line. He's got a little bit quicker car, but he keeps diving to the bottom, and not able to really complete and make passes down there. Those guys have that momentum. It's so strong on the top. You see, cannot get by this 20 car, so he's kind of stuck and stalled out here. That's frustration for a lot of these drivers in the top 10.
Sam Mayer in the 8 diving to the inside of the 11 of Haley.
I think that's the opportunity to pass is patience. When Sam Mayer goes to the bottom to look underneath Haley, that's when the 20 of Burton needs to try to get to the outside of the 8 and not allow him a lane back in. Once again, now we have the 2 of Myatt Snider looking to the bottom. So if you're the 11 of Haley behind the 1 of Annett, you want to fill this position. If Myatt can't clear the 1, but Myatt will clear the 1, he'll slide up into, I guess, the 6th position.
Yeah, that's a great job by Myatt. If you can do a little bit of a side draft down the front straightaway, it sort of launches you almost by the guy into the corner, and you can maintain that gap through the rest of the corner and complete the pass, pull up in front of the guy, not do a block or anything too egregious on corner exit partner.
Well, guys, Rick, at the end of the last stage, you mentioned how Harrison Burton had some tire issues, was plowing tight at the end of that stage, finished outside the top 10 there. Well, let's put some visualization to what exactly he was fighting. Look at this right front tire from Harrison Burton. This is cording on this tire. We remarked how, hey, if you go to that top lane so early in this race where there was no rubber up there, this is the fear that some of these crew chiefs that can happen in these tires. Right here, you see that cording. They made adjustments for that tight condition that he had. So we'll see how that car reacts here in this run, but that's some of the fear these crew chiefs had of moving up too quickly, Marty.
Parker Noah Gregson's team did a great job on pit road. On Sundays, they pit a combination of William Byron, some of them Chase Elliott. They gained Noah Gregson 3 spots here on pit road, but similar to Harrison Burton, check out this right front for Noah Gregson. Look at that cording. Steve, you look at this cording, I don't know if that would worry you. Obviously, the first run of the day is always going to be the worst run of the day, and we talked about how these Xfinity Series cars, really the first ones on the racetrack this weekend. Would that tire concern you at all?
It really doesn't. If the truck race had already run, then I would be concerned, Rick, just because I don't think there's that much improvement left in the racetrack. But with no cars on the racetrack, I mean, you can visually see the track changing colors. The only other side of the fence argument would be that, remember, we had quite a few yellow flag laps in that first stage. So now if this stage runs green, we're going to probably expect to run 10 or 15 more green flag laps on these tires.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned. I think if I'm sitting in the car and I see that tire roll out in front of me over the pit wall, I'm going to be asking you some questions, Steve. I need you to calm me down. If you're not concerned about that, I'm going to need to hear about it. But, you know, I think that you would try to talk yourself off of, like we said earlier in the race, not being the first one up there. Even at this point in the race, even in stage 3 when they put tires on again before that stage, don't be the first guy to go up there. Work the bottom as long as you possibly can stand it to try to move forward or even maintain your position.
Yeah, because that first stage had 12 yellow flag laps, right? So on the 45 lap, we only saw 33 green. So far, 18 green here, and it could easily run the entire stage under green.
Allgaier's going to complete the pass here using the bottom of the racetrack. He'll get in front of Justin Haley in that 11.
He's going to slide up the racetrack on corner exit, though, Rick. It's going to cost him a little bit of speed. They're going to come with a big head of steam down the back straightaway. Does Haley go to the inside? He doesn't. See, that's why that tells you how bad the bottom is for this 11 car. He had a run that would have took anyone to the bottom of the racetrack for a pass, but he chose to not even try to pass for position, just to stay on the outside line.
Yeah, and you'll see right here, if the 20 does not clear the 11 of Haley, watch what will happen. He's got to clear him, because if not, they'll line up on the outside of him. So Harrison drives in the corner, is going to slide up the racetrack, put Haley in a position where, lift or not, Harrison decides to go there. Haley once again makes a decision. This time he does go to the bottom. Feels like maybe he can drive in further than the 20 and try to slide him the same way the 20 just did him.
I would be really concerned if I was the driver of that 11 car. Look how loose he is. And I was getting passed while running the top. That's a car that's not really handling too well, doesn't have a lot of pace if you can't maintain position running the top.
Let's listen in to the 16 of Allmendinger.
So, man, behind the 18. Wow. Yeah, it blows my mind, man. I'm sorry. That's all I can tell you. I don't have the side bites that they do, man. Kind of still on the edge.
Side bite. He's talking about grip in the right rear tire. The car's wanting to swing around, spin out. He wants more side bite, more grip. He wants that right rear tire to stick a little bit better. He's jealous of what he sees his competitors able to accomplish in the corner.
And surprisingly, he won stage 1. So Allmendinger wanting a little bit more out of that 16 car. Austin Cindric out front here at Kansas. Download the official app of NASCAR. Follow the action with free live scoring, in-car cameras, and radio broadcast. Search NASCAR in your app store. So download and start a free trial today. Watching the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs, Kansas Lottery 300. Just 20 laps still to go in stage 2. Austin Cindric now has about a 0.3 of a second lead over Ty Gibbs. Noah Gragson, Daniel Hemrick, and Myatt Snyder all part of the top 5. Parker.
Well, guys, it's been fascinating as we watch this battle between Austin Cindric and Ty Gibbs, listening to 22's radio as they described him, what that 54 is doing behind him. Remember, he had a lead of about a second. Ty Gibbs has been able to sort of cut that down to 0.3 of a second, and they've been describing his line differences by inches. I mean, literally inches. You watch the 22 run up next to the wall, they'll show up and tell him the 54 is going below that bottom seam and describing it throughout each time that they go to the corner. And so my question to you guys is, especially Dale, is that information you like to hear? I know I personally like to hear that, but that's a tough thing to be driving up next to that wall and being described behind you exactly what that driver's doing, trying to hold him off and put that dirty air on his car.
Yeah, Dale, how much information do you want to hear, or do you just want to focus on putting the car where you want it to be?
Yeah, I want to hear from my spotter where everybody's running, how they're entering the corner. Really, I mean, even if they're on the wall early in the corner, I think the better to run the top, the best, you need to enter on the fence. But if a guy's making a little speed by entering a little bit lower, this 54 car of Ty Gibbs entering just a little bit lower on, even when they're running the top, his entry is different. I want to know those little nuances about those cars, especially if they're running me down.
I want to know how you drivers plan on getting through this traffic that's in front of the leaders as they enter into turn 3 right here in the middle of 3 and 4. There are about 6 or 7 cars, and they are taking up the entire racetrack. They're 2 wide, 3 wide at times. So if you're the 22 of Cindric, I know you hope they get organized, and yet here they are 3 wide again.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, Steve, and a great chance for the 54 car of Ty Gibbs to change positions and take the lead of this race. Now, see, most of those cars on the bottom of the racetrack, that's where the 22 wants them to be. He would love for all of them to move over to the inside. They're not all going to do that. So he's going to have to go the inside here. Now he's got to thread the needle, maybe 3 wide. He's getting completely dirty air right here. Not a lot of grip off the car. But the 54 is not close enough really to make any kind of attempt to take advantage of it.
When he came out of turn 2 the last time, the 54 was sideways. Again, very loose. Lost a little ground.
Oh, this is, Rick, the 6 is going to cost a little bit of time, but the 54 again, he's hung up with lap cars as well.
Very busy here for race leader Austin Cindric. And Ty Gibbs, who's trying to chase him down now. What will Ty Gibbs do with these lap down cars?
It's wild to see these lap cars. They race just as hard, if not harder, than the guys racing for the lead. You can see all these guys sliding around. None of their cars driving very well as these leaders knife through. They have their hands full and they work hard back here in the pack. Leaders trying to work their way around. Look at them get loose.
And you want to be careful around a lap cars because you're so much faster than they are, but you can't be. You got to be aggressive. If you're not, it's really easier to get in a wreck. You want to just get by them as quick as you can. Of course, it's a battle for the lead, too. So a lot of these leads in these races as they go on these long runs happen during lap traffic. You can find an opportunity, find a weakness. You got to take advantage of it.
Cindric goes around Josh Williams in the 92. Was 6th in Kansas last October. And he maintains that lead over the 54. After working through all that traffic, I thought it would absolutely present an opportunity for the 54, but they both struggled really the same getting through there. Now these guys back here in 3rd place, Gragson, Hemrick, they're all having to go through the same amount of traffic. Oh man, that's close. The air off of the nose of that 18, off the right front corner, affecting the 9 car there.
Again, fighting for the 3rd spot. Noah Gragson has it. Hemrick trying to take it away.
Hemrick with that left front down on that line, able to get to the inside here, down the back straightaway. He'll try to side draft a little bit. Hope to pick the 9 car behind the 68 car, Brandon Brown.
And Hemrick is going to be able to clear the 9 of Noah Gragson, and he'll take that spot away. We go NASCAR nonstop. You won't miss a thing. Austin Cindric able to hold off the competition as Ty Gibbs, the 54. Oh, pressure. And how close is this? The 4 may have interfered with this battle for the lead.
Well, the 4 car of Landon Castle side draft the leader down the front straightaway, slowed that 22 car down. Big run by the 54. You saw it. At 22 of Austin Cindric able to maintain the position.
Starting to drop with you. Headlight lower by half. Same momentum.
That's a spotter. Coleman Presley, 22 car for Austin Cindric. Telling him what that 54 car is doing back there. He's got a headlight lower. That means he's a little bit offset to the left of you in the corner, and you see it. And the 54 does that because he's trying to put clean air on the nose of that car to pin it down to keep the car turning. If he runs it directly in the tracks of the 22 car, he's going to have less grip. See him again go to the inside a little bit lower.
Lane lower by 1.
Oh, the 22 cuts down across the nose.
Staying up.
You see the 54, how loose he is. Back of the car is just moving around a lot. Dylan.
Let's do a quick Toyota driver update on the driver of that 54 Toyota, and that's Ty Gibbs. So something interesting that goes back to what you guys were talking about, how you take all the information you get from the spotter, the crew chief, and how you apply that. That's something that, as Ty Gibbs continues to learn this Xfinity series, that his crew chief, Chris Gale, is trying to teach him about how to get comfortable with all of that SMT data that he's getting from the pit box, the info he's applying, or the info he's getting from the spotter, applying all of that and feeling comfortable, kind of making his own decisions on the racetrack. So I think something you've seen here as he stalks Austin Cindric is that he has tried to take what he's learned following the defending series champion, try to apply that and get by him. And so far it's almost worked because he's right on the rear bumper.
Less than 3 laps to go in stage 2. And Ty Gibbs giving Austin Cindric fits right now as he looks to the inside once again. Just about a half of car length separating the top 2. And if you're the crew chief of the 22 of Austin Cindric, are you telling him to be aggressive, to block this kid, or are you, because he's looking for a championship. Austin Cindric's looking for a championship. Ty Gibbs is looking for just a race win.
I'm putting it back in my driver's hands. You're here because of the talent behind the wheel in that 22 and the great cars you've given him all year long. I don't want you doing anything different. And at this point, I haven't seen anything out of Ty Gibbs that concerns me. It's really good, clean, hard racing, but I haven't seen any contact. It's actually the opposite. The 54 driver's doing a nice job of just reminding Cindric he's back there. If he makes mistakes, he knows the 54 will go by.
Yeah, that's right. I think Ty Gibbs has put a lot of pressure on him. I think if Ty Gibbs, though, to your point, Rick, he has nothing to lose here. And he can put that pressure on Austin Cindric. Put Austin in a position where he has to make a decision to lift or not.
Final lap of stage 2. And Austin Cindric looking very strong now. Has about a 7 car length lead over Ty Gibbs. Gibbs closes the gap a little bit through 3 and 4. But this will be the 11th stage win for Austin Cindric, having a great season and collecting 10 more points.
Battle right here for those points that are awarded. The 7 tried to get on the right side door of Harrison Burton, unable to do it. The 20 will go by and take the position from the 7.
That was 7th for Harrison Burton. Allmendinger was 6th. Allgaier, Sam Bayer, and Justin Haley rounding out the top 10 in stage 2. So it was Allmendinger who was able to win stage 1. Now it's Cindric who wins stage 2 here at Kansas. Drivers gaining points. All the playoff drivers except Brandon Jones here in stage 2. But Cindric gaining the most. Kansas Speedway, Austin Cindric has been able to gain the most points through the first 2 stages of the race. Daniel Hemrick, another solid run here at Kansas, 17 points, Allmendinger 15, and then on down. As far as the playoff drivers, gaining points, so important as we get ready. Of course, a win and you advance, but we know for sure at least 2 drivers in the playoffs are going to get in based on points.
Yeah, and Harrison Burton, Brandon Jones, the 2 drivers that came in below the cut line, they were also at the bottom of how many points they earned through the stages. So as you see currently on the racetrack as they run, Harrison minus 31. That, still somewhat possible. Brandon Jones, though, continues to lose ground at minus 50. I think they're thinking victory lane is going to be required unless we have some accidents or some mechanical issues, Parker.
Right, and Austin Cindric obviously very happy in that 22 car. They're deciding to make no changes, just 4 tires. They want to keep that track position on the 22. His only remark was about how hard it was to drive through traffic, as we saw as he was making his way and racing that stage with Marty.
You saw at the end of that stage, Parker, Noah Gragson lose 3rd to Daniel Hemrick at the very end of the stage, and he said, man, I just need a little bit more overall grip. He said the car started off so good, it just lost front grip at the end of the run. I want more of that last track bar adjustment, Dylan.
For Daniel Hemrick at the bottom of the screen, the adjustments they made last time were positive. Now he just wants a little bit more front turn as an air pressure adjustment for him. Ty Gibbs said he's just a touch loose, that he needs to get better behind the wheel. It's going to be close in the race off pit road.
Well, the crew works because the 54 had a great stop, gained a spot, and he wins the race off of pit road. Hemrick and Cindric drop 2. Tomorrow on NBC, Sunday Night Football. Carson Wentz and the Colts visit Nick Bosa and the 49ers. Coverage starting at 7 p.m. Eastern with Football Night in America. Can't wait for that battle. We've had some great battles on the racetrack already up to this point, and it's been Ty Gibbs who has looked very impressive. Allmendinger wins stage 1. We see Austin Cindric win stage 2, but can Ty Gibbs now, after a penalty on pit road, he was speeding when he came on this most recent, can he come back through the field and challenge for the win here?
Well, we saw John Hunter Nemechek do it last week in this 54, but it doesn't seem to be quite as dominant speed-wise as it was a week ago. That 22 is going to battle him. I think if you're a playoff driver, you're almost excited to see the 54 cycled out. That allows you guys to get to the front, because while we've talked points, and points should be perhaps the main concern, let's not forget the golden ticket, and that's victory lane. If you win this race, you have advanced to the championship 4 at Phoenix. So without Ty Gibbs lining up at the front of this restart, I think the playoff driver is going to be a little more relaxed, although a long final stage, Rick.
All right, drivers, we ask you this question. With being in the playoffs, those 8 drivers, how aggressive do they get at the end of this race?
I think they get more aggressive, especially the ones who are starting to fall behind a little bit in the points race as we go through the stages. And some are getting points and some haven't today. So some of these guys might start to get a little bit more and more desperate. And that's going to absolutely bleed into this last stage and then on into Martinsville as well next week. week. So I think things are going to start picking up.
Well, they have to. I think some drivers, Steve talked about it a little bit ago, Harrison Burton, Brandon Jones did not get very good points. Justin Haley as well. Harrison Burton now starting towards the front of the pack. He has to get aggressive. He has to take advantage of this track position.
As we're getting ready for the restart, Dylan.
You guys having a tip as a cap to Myatt Snyder. He'll restart 6th here. This is a racetrack felt like was going to be a really good opportunity for them to have a good run, and they want to win here today just to prove that they belong in the playoffs. But Myatt was really confident that I like this racetrack, can move around a lot, just like we could at Homestead, where they won earlier this year, Marty.
Dylan, how about Justin Allgaier? Remember on the last stop, they restarted 17th, was only able to make it up to 7th. Now he restarts 7th in a position where he can see the front and maybe go after the win this afternoon, Parker.
Well, Marty, for Brandon Jones, we've seen him struggling because the nose is too high in the air. So what has that team done twice? Taken Packer out. This is 3 8-inch Packers that just came out of that race car trying to get that splitter close to the ground. And Steve, as you know, that is everything in this game to make the aerodynamics work. That's what the 19's been struggling with, is see if this final stage, if this helps them get that car in the right direction.
That does not fall under fine-tune adjustments.
Really?
No, that falls under yard sale. Big changes. So we'll see if it helps this 19 car. Over 100 laps in this final stage. Pit stop required if it goes under green.
Brandon Jones knows what he likes here at Kansas. He's won twice. It's Hemrick and Cindric. And stage 3 underway. Harrison Burton has made his way up into the top 5. Gregson, Allmendinger, Myatt Snyder up here fighting for position.
Oh man, the 18
sideways. They wreck coming up at turn 2.
Straight here. Lock it down, lock it down, lock it down, straight. Keep the wheel straight.
Noah and the 18 of Hemrick.
All right, get it rolling here.
Close racing and a lot of damage to the left front of the 18.
A lot of damage, but not as bad as it could have been. The 9 car, he's got some right front damage as well, but I don't know that they ever hit really hard. Let's go back and watch a replay. Certainly body damage, but how much damage to the chassis?
Close racing as they came off of turn 2. We'll take another look at it here in just a moment.
So the 9 car's got some momentum on the top side. The 18 tries to get.
I think the 18 looked loose right there.
Yeah.
He looked like his back of his car was wiggling and slid up in front of Noah.
And we kind of need to see how that started a good bit earlier, where the 18 and the 22 are side by side in the middle of the corner.
See the pace that the 18's losing compared to the 20 on the bottom and the 22 in front of him. He had a problem. He was loose.
2 playoff drivers with damage to their race cars.
If you need it, clear behind him. If you need it, 18's backing up. Stay bottom, stay bottom, stay bottom, stay bottom, stay bottom, get bottom. Watch him, Regan. Stay top. Get bottom, all the way bottom, all the way bottom. Stay in it, stay in it.
Yeah, the 18's just out of the gas, sliding up the racetrack. Noah gets into the back of him, turns him around.
Myatt Snyder did a great job.
Both those drivers really lucky to not spin back up into the oncoming traffic.
See, watch the 18. He's on the bottom. 22's taking the air off of him, gets him loose. Now he's coming up the racetrack. Now he's loose. Right? See the rear of the car round? That's why Noah got into the back of him. Just the pace of the 18 was so slow as he was chasing the back of the car.
Great job by Myatt Snyder there in the 2. We saw him have to check up, even get into the brakes a little bit so he doesn't hit the 18.
So, Steve, I don't see any major impacts between these 2 cars. I think they may have gotten away with this with a little bit of luck.
Yeah, the 18 definitely has damage to that left front, but this should be able to, patch it up a little bit. Pretty big damage on the right side of the 9, or bigger than I thought. The body holds up pretty well, but it's such a high-speed racetrack, you're definitely going to have to come in and work on this. The concern, really, Rick, is sets of tires. They both slid down the backstretch, so if they flat spotted a set of tires, now you've burned a set. We talked about the strategy thing earlier, right? If you start to get a whole bunch of yellows, you're not going to have tire sets.
Yeah, so the 18 car, he's came to pit road and changed tires. That was one off of his car. The 9 car will have to do the same.
That was a big break for Ty Gibbs. Remember, he had that penalty. He was got to start at the tail end of the longest line, but now he'll be able to line up with only 18 cars in the lead lap. He'll be able to line up on this restart in 18th.
So interesting for Noah Gragson and Daniel Hemrick. Both of them were below the cut line before the race started. Marty.
You see Noah Gragson coming down pit road, and you can hear on the radio just why Dave Ellens is a multi-time championship crew chief here in the Xfinity Series, even calling out the exact dimensions he wants for the tape to cover the seams, and they want to really check the right front. Noah Gragson said his wheel is off a little bit, but he thinks that's maybe more from the flat tires than anything else, but they're going to pay a lot of attention here to the right front to make sure they get everything right, Dylan.
And I think for Daniel Hemrick, they believe the wheel is straight as well, but their biggest problem is going to be the splitter, so they've got a couple of these steel blocks that they're going to have to drop the car off the jack onto and onto the splitter, which you see them doing now to try and get that splitter straightened back out. So obviously some heavy damage to the left front, but you can see that block underneath the left front of the splitter. That's the main area of concern for the 18, just to try to get this thing back on the racetrack so it can go through the corner.
Damage control for the 9 and the 18. Again on the restart. This is what happened coming out of turn 2. Hemrick, contact with the 9 of Gragson. Both go around, both with damage. Allgaier got loose, got into the back of the 20. Allgaier into the wall. The 20 also major damage.
That one's on me. Not only did we wreck our day, but we wrecked a lot of other competitors.
Up into the wall he goes. It's the 18 of Harrison Burton who was sideways.
For me, it just felt like I got flat out wrecked.
Oh, contact! They both hit. Bell slams into Briscoe.
How do you handle it when something like this happens with a close friend?
Well, to be honest with you, we haven't really been good friends for about 2 years.
Tempers have flared here at Kansas before. Will they once again? After we've seen here early in this one, some contact made. Now the 9 and the 18 both have damage to their race cars. And the 20 of Harrison Burton may be the beneficiary of what took place, because right now he's scored in second.
So he's underneath both these cars off turn 2 and avoids any contact right there and just kind of squeaks on through. A lot of the guys on the outside very thankful that both these cars, as they spin back to the right, don't come up the racetrack. Drivers locking down the brakes. Parker, you got more on the 20.
Well, what a comeback for this 22. Remember, just at the end of stage 1, they had a right front that corded, finished outside the top 10 in stage 1, then found themselves in the top 10 at stage 2, got 2 spots on the pit road there on the stage 2 break, and now find themselves here on the front row. So what a great comeback for this 20 team, where this race started off in a pretty precarious position.
And now remember, Noah Gragson, Daniel Hemrick, they were running up in the 2nd and 3rd positions. Now they're going to restart back in 17th and 18th.
Well, and the other concern is that now they've used up another set of tires, because that accident killed a set of tires, so they're a set of tires down to the leaders which may or may not be a disadvantage. Depends on how these 99 laps run. Good repair work, though. Left front of the 18, all taped up.
Getting back up to speed as they restart in front of him. Harrison Burton on the inside. Austin Cindric on the outside. That's Myatt Snyder in the 2, just behind Cindric. Myatt Snyder, very good on racetracks where you run that high line. He was able to get his first win in the Xfinity Series at Homestead, Miami earlier this year. All the way up against the wall. Snyder trying to fight for that second spot with Harrison Burton. Cindric pulls away with the lead. Mike Snyder to second. Harrison Burton third. Allgaier. Riley Herbst in the top 5.
Another car we didn't see in the original replay right there, that 54 of Ty Gibbs. He had a little damage on his nose. They put some tape on it. I don't think it'll hurt the performance of that car, but it does stand out. Oh, as the 07 goes around off turn 2.
Joe Graff Jr. and looks like he's going to be able to keep it off the inside wall, but that will bring the caution out again. Now 6 times the yellow flag has flown.
Those cars in the wreck a few laps ago can now come back to pit road and continue to make repairs.
Damaged vehicle policy, anytime you're involved in a wreck, you get put on the clock.
Yeah, and you know, all of the cars got their damaged vehicle policy reset. They all made minimum speed, so they're off the clock now, except for their 07 and Joe Graff, because he was the cause of this caution.
Take a look at what happened with the 07.
You're clearly all the way already around. Not sure if he had contact prior to that or not.
Joe Graff Jr. currently attending New York University when he's not behind the wheel of a race car. Looks like the splitter on the right or the left front of that car a little bit off, Steve.
Yep, definitely up. Probably want to get down on the flat. Definitely wrinkled that fender. Left front splitter up.
Take a look and see if someone's going to come to pit road here.
Maybe the 18. He's all the way in the back. He might come for some more repair work.
Yeah, I think you're right, Steve. Noah Gragson and his team look like they're satisfied with the repairs done, and you see the 18 diving on the pit road here to do a little more work. Try to get that left front a little more aerodynamically sound.
If you're a Noah Gragson fan, that's a good sign that he didn't pit, because they feel like they don't need to do more work, Dylan.
And so the interesting thing just in that lap and a half or so, they're obviously tough to feel out exactly what you've got. But Daniel said that obviously the car feels damaged. He notices that, but that it's laying on the splitter. And so it's hard to really kind of diagnose exactly what the car's doing. So that's going to be another thing that they try to focus on here, is still getting that splitter up off the racetrack. It's not bouncing on it, but it's just kind of dulling the front of the race car, so it makes it hard to know what it's doing. So you see them dropping it down on that block again, just to try to get that left front portion of the splitter up off the racetrack and then try and send it back out.
Is there a limit, Steve, on the amount of tape they put on these cars?
All the tape you can stand. You just can't add body parts. You know, years ago you would put a new fender on. Not anymore. You got to repair it with tape.
Left front taped up well for the 18. the reason why the intensity is ramping up here in Kansas is because next Saturday on NBCSN, the Xfinity Series playoffs are from Martinsville Speedway. That's right, the short track. Last chance to advance to the championship 4. That race coverage beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern. So if that's what you have to look forward to, bumping, banging, short track racing next week, you'd love to be locked into the playoffs or the championship 4 from right here in Kansas.
I mean, you talk to all the drivers, they're all excited. Oh, I'm going to be good at Martinsville. It's a track I have a lot of confidence in, but the problem is they all feel that way.
Yeah,
So
only one can win.
There can only be one winner.
They rarely say, I'm not going to be good next week.
That's true. All right, Cindric and Snyder now lining up on the front row. Cindric on the outside, Myatt Snyder on the inside. We'll see what he's got.
I did a good job.
A great restart.
Yeah, he did a good job. He got a little help from A.J. Allmendinger down into turn 1.
Ty Gibbs on the move on the outside in the 54. Again, after the speeding penalty, he's worked his way back up into the top 6. Harrison Burton running that high line in the 20.
Eight of Sam Mayer stuck in the middle there is going to lose the position to the 9, perhaps the 19 as well of Jones. You see the 1 of Annette, the 39 of Sieg in the picture.
9 of Noah Gregson. Must feel good about the repairs they've made to that car.
Oh, Myatt Snyder.
Yeah, Harrison Burton to the inside of the 2 car. Myatt got up into the fence, or maybe just lost the back of the car there and had to lift a lot. Lost a lot of momentum down the back straightaway. Lost several positions. Ty Gibbs going to slide up in front of him. Oh, Myatt to the outside. A little contact right there. Myatt gets out of the gas. Ty Gibbs did not want to give him the top because he wants to run this wall down here in 1 and 2.
Haley able to clear the 2 as well. So Justin Haley in that 11 able to get by Myatt Snyder. So Snyder, after running and challenging for the lead here, has fallen all the way back to 7. And now Noah Gregson has him in his sights. So Noah Gregson running in the 8th spot now, and we'll see how he's able to handle that position and the little bit of damage that they have, Marty.
And to answer the question, Rick, yes, they are happy with the repairs on the 9 car for Noah Gregson. He was a little concerned that the steering wheel might be off. In other words, that the toe on the car wouldn't track straight. That might be off, but it is perfectly fine. The one concern is they now have no right side jack post. So when they come to pit road and they put the car up on the jack, it's literally going to have to go all the way to the frame rail to get the right side of that car up. That's the one concern. Dave Ellens reminded him, I told you at the beginning of the day, all we need to do today is finish 3rd. Right now running in 6th, recovered after that big wreck earlier.
The repair on the 9 doesn't look like it's holding up, though. If you see down the front straightaway, it's sort of changed shape and a lot of it moving around in the wind, and I'm sure they're going to have to continue to monitor that and adjust and work on that when given the opportunity.
Drivers, when you feel vibrations, can you feel that?
You can feel it when it changes. That shape, the shape of that repair and that material they put on there changed drastically just last time down the front straightaway, and I'm sure you can feel a little balance shift in the car having a little more front downforce or less downforce in the front.
Yeah, when you can see that right front, you can see it shaking. It's actually, you can see the right front fender shaking. Yes, that creates a vibration in the car. The driver doesn't know what the vibration is. He can't see that body shaking. See all that? That is, without a doubt, send a signal to the driver. I've got something wrong.
We got 1 set left. We're going long on both remaining sets. The one on there, the one we got.
Yeah. You heard that. That's crew chief to driver. Listen, you're going to see a lot of different strategies here, but we only have one set remaining because of that accident, so we're going to have to kind of run long on this set of tires as the 9, even with that damage, pulls to the bottom of the 16 of Allmendinger. So now the 9 is wishing his car wasn't damaged. And if you're Allmendinger, you are thoroughly frustrated right now when you look to your left and you see this 9 car that you see wrecked down the backstretch, taped up fender drives by you, Marty.
Just on cue, as they were saying it, Steve, a moment ago, Dale and Jeff, literally they told Noah Gragson, hey, that tape was coming off. Dave Ellen said, you might pick up a vibration here. He said, I don't feel anything, I feel fine. And yes, to answer your question, when he saw the 9 go by, A.J. Allmendinger said, how did they just drive through me like that? Yeah, demoralizing when the car, who was spun out on the backstretch about 10 laps ago, drives by you on the front stretch.
We saw Dave Ellens there. I was able to play in a golf charity tournament with him just this last week, and he told me as we were walking around the course, he said a top 3 in the stages and a top 3 in the race will feel comfortable going to Martinsville. That doesn't mean that we feel like we're locked in. We'll feel comfortable going to Martinsville.
And I call you out, there's no chance y'all were walking around the course. You mean riding around in a golf cart?
There was a golf cart.
Because there ain't no way y'all walked 18.
Noah Gragson closing in on his teammate Justin Allgaier down the front straightaway. Justin running to the bottom of the racetrack, struggling to find a place where this car can create some speed. He's losing positions here. He lost a spot to the 54. Ty Gibbs going to lose another one here to the 9 car. Side by side down the back straightaway.
These 2 are teammates from Junior Motorsports fighting for a spot.
Justin's car seems to be better on the bottom. He doesn't seem to want to move up the racetrack.
He's fighting hard for this position, but going to ultimately lose it down the front straightaway to the momentum the high side creates.
We see the 9 of Noah Gragson recovering from this accident. The 18 of Daniel Hemrick, who was also in the accident. Team made repairs. He's back in 13th, so still on the racetrack. There he is. Points in front of him. He's actually run the 98 and the 1 down from about a half a straightaway back. So I think Hemrick has a chance to continue to earn some points, move up through the field. Not quite as fast as he once was, but you never know. A little track position, late restart, it could all fall his way.
You still see how tight the points are between Noah Gragson down to Daniel Hemrick, separated by 5 points, really, between those 3 drivers, Gragson, Allgaier, and Hemrick.
You mentioned the damage on the cars. Looking at that 18 car, see the left front. Well, the 9 car, he just ran the second fastest lap on the racetrack with that damage. So the 9 car is really not being hurt by the damage, but I think this 18 car has a little more.
Every Aero guy in the series just eye-rolled your statement right there, Jeff.
I know.
Like, oh, boy.
I don't know what to tell him. You know what doesn't lie? It's time. It's quite simple. Stopwatch doesn't lie.
I fought it for 20 years. The thing just never seems to go away, Rick.
And still a little more damage on that 9. It's exposing itself for Noah Gragson. No issues for Austin Cindric, looking for his first ever win at Kansas Speedway. Out front, he's got 80 to go as we go NASCAR nonstop. Tomorrow on NBCSN, another chance to advance to the Championship 4, and who's going to join Kyle Larson in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in that Championship 4 race coverage from right here at Kansas, beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern, pre-race at 2 o'clock. You see the haulers just outside of the racetrack. They're ready to come in at the conclusion of this race. Myatt Snyder battling back in the 2, trying to get back to the positions he was in. And running that high line, Snyder in the 9th position now as he gets really loose coming off at 2.
You're right behind Snyder, the 11 of Justin Haley. Just not very good today, running 10th. You know, that's not an awful position unless you're in the playoffs. And then you say, well, I only have Hemrick with damage behind me, every other playoff car in front of me. So that 11 of Haley trying to, you know, salvage some points here. Currently 19 below the cut line, as you see on the bottom left. So just try. You just want to. I mean, 19's a lot to think you have to go to Martinsville and make up, right? Let's try to get that down to 15, maybe to 10. Much more manageable.
And Steve, with 73 laps to go, the pit window you mentioned was 58, maybe 60 laps. Are you going to try to come in early, or are you going to wait as long as you can, run as far as you can on fuel before you come to get those fresh tires?
So Saturdays are very different than Sundays. On Sundays in the Cup Series, with the depth of the field, everybody kind of splits it right in the middle, so you have the freshest tires for the most amount of time. In the Xfinity Series, it seems to be a bigger risk to pit early. So most of these drivers normally run very, very long. So I expect these guys to run another 30, 35 laps, even though they could make it in fuel in about 10 more, run nice and long, have the freshest tires on at the end of the race if it goes green.
How about Harrison Burton? What a run Harrison is having now, as apparently they've made the right adjustments on the 20 car, and he's closed the gap on Austin Cindric.
Been pretty impressive to see this 20 car hang in there, but has to be some balance issues or some challenges the 22 cars facing they're going to need to work on for stage 3. Harrison, though, is looking at an opportunity of punching his ticket, winning this race. You know, he's so far out of it points wise. A win here, man, what a relief that would be. You wouldn't have to go to Martinsville, much tougher place, much more physical racetrack, and have to win.
It's right there now. This is going to be a really difficult pass. The 22 car is going to go to the top. We've seen the car on the bottom, how loose they can get. Harrison's definitely a little bit quicker. But anytime you go to a racetrack where the top lane's the fastest, it makes that pass really difficult.
And is it a mandatory, I mean, slide job? Is that what you've got to try? You throw it in there a little bit further when you go into the turn?
Yeah, there's multiple ways to get around the guy. You can get up there to the left rear quarter panel. If you can get, you know, offset your car a little bit to the left, like he's doing. If you can get to that quarter panel a little bit, get that driver out of the gas before they exit the corner. Then side draft down the straightaway and overdrive the entry of the next corner and take the spot. It's not necessarily an absolute side draft situation, or slide job situation, but you don't want to have to slide job the guy. This kind of puts him in a bad situation. We've seen that here before, where guys don't really like that. But, you know, I think if you can side draft down the straightaway and overdrive the entry of the next corner and take the spot away that way.
About a half a lane lower is what we're seeing the 20 run compared to the 22 of Austin Cindric.
But that line is slower. And, you know, when you have to move down to get clean air, you're giving up a little bit of pace because you're not running the top. So it's kind of frustrating to be the 20 car, knowing you're quicker, knowing you're much quicker. If he was in front of this 22 right now, he would drive away.
And behind them, you see the 54 car. They had driven away from him, but now I feel like Austin's holding Harrison up just a little bit, so that's going to allow Ty Gibbs as well as Noah Gregson to catch these guys.
We see it closing in between the top 2. Remember, these 2 drivers are heading to the Cup Series next year. Austin Cindric will drive the number 2 for Penske Racing, and Harrison Burton will be in the 21 for the Wood Brothers in 2022. As we see on the bottom of the screen, Brandon Jones closes the gap now on the 16 of Allmendinger. Here comes Sam Mayer in the 8 as well.
Those two battle for the lead. They call lap traffic at a really bad spot. That's going to help Ty Gibbs gain on them a little bit.
Man, AJ's car is struggling after winning stage 1.
What a run here. Harrison Burton to the inside for the lead.
That car in front of him is going to give him a lot of room, though, but not the bottom of the racetrack. Harrison's going to have a decision to make. It's going to be difficult for him. Can he maintain position on the inside of the 22? Trying to side draft down the front straightaway here. Can he do it? He seems to be there still, Jeff.
He is. Cindric got really loose on corner exit. Again, Ty Gibbs continues to close on him. Cindric loose. You can see Harris going to be in a
Car in the wall right in front of the leaders. They go by so close.
And the caution comes out. Mason Massey in the 5. Damage to the right side of that car. Steve, you mentioned up into the wall.
Yeah, right in front of the leaders, and I was just concerned. Drivers, you know, we've seen when you commit to the top like that, why you would think you could just turn the steering wheel left. You know, with the speed you're carrying, it's not that easy. Luckily for the 22 of Cindric and the 20 of Harrison, they could see far enough ahead of them or got information from the spotter and both avoided the slow car.
Saw Mason look like he was going to try to drive off from that. A lot of damage to the right front.
This is Mason's last race with this team this year, so not ending the way he wanted it to end.
Rolling. Bring it to me. Pit road.
And the sparks.
Looks like the right front tire blew on this car as quickly as he goes into the fence. We saw the tire was flat. I believe it went down before contact. Nothing he could do there.
This is what got my attention. I mean, those two leaders. Just, you know, I remember, what was it, Noah down in Miami. You know, just never know when they're committed to the top like that with the pace they're having.
And Steve, this is the time of the race where those guys that had to pit earlier because they got in that accident, this is the time of the race where if they don't have tires, as many tires as everybody else, what do they do here?
You know, the problem is 64 laps to go. We think they can go roughly 60 on fuel, so you got to say close enough to your window. And the two you really got to highlight, I'll circle them, right? Noah Gragson right here with one set and Daniel Hemrick. They're behind. They're a set behind. So I think they have to pit here, but they are in a bad, bad way because of any other yellows from this point forward, they won't have tires to put on, Parker.
You saw Austin Cindric trying to hold off that 20 car Harrison Burton at the top of your screen. He was lacking lateral grip in that 22, just too loose off the corners. That's where the 20 was beating him. That's going to be 4 tires for them, as well as Harrison Burton, the middle of your screen. He felt like the car was getting tighter, but he was able to turn down through the center of 1 and 2 and beat the 22 on exits. You saw, Marty.
Final set of sticker Goodyear tires going on Noah Gregson's car. As Steve mentioned, there'll be a set down to the rest of the field for the rest of the race. It'll also be a little bit short, so will everybody here on fuel, about 4 laps short. Noah said, I think the race is going to finish on the top of the racetrack, all the way at the wall. Adjust for that if you can.
Cindric able to hold the lead. Gibbs gains a spot on Harrison Burton on pit road. Gregson and Allgaier holding on to their top 5 spots.
The 10 miles, now he's number 2. All out of rubber and running on fumes. It's door to door, out of turn 4. He sees those checkers and he hears that roar. And the crowd goes wild.
You're watching NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs. The Kansas Lottery 300 from Kansas Speedway. And it now will be Cindric and Gibbs making up row 1. Austin Cindric will restart on the outside of Ty Gibbs. Gibbs looking for his 4th win of the season. Doesn't run full time in the Xfinity Series, but running for Rookie of the Year, as Austin Cindric will be on his outside again, looking for that locked in spot in the playoffs. Just behind the 54 is the 9, Marty.
Sitting in 4th a moment ago, Noah Gragson and Dave Ellens had a conversation about being out of tires. Listen in.
Hopefully this goes green to the end. We don't have any tires left. Everybody else has one more set. It'd be a shame to get put out of the chase by not having enough tires.
So there you go. And there was a debate after that, Steve, where they said NASCAR did not give us a set after we spun. They were thinking maybe they would be awarded another set. What's your take on that? Should that be allowed?
Well, if I was Dave Ellens, I absolutely would be politicking for a set, but I think NASCAR needs to stay out of the tire business. There have been opportunities where they've given tires to teams, but I just don't like it. It's unfortunate for the 9, but I feel it's the same for everyone if NASCAR doesn't ever give anyone an extra set of tires.
60 laps to go from here in Kansas. A guaranteed spot in the championship 4 up for grabs. Austin Cindric getting a push from the 20 of Harrison Burton, and Ty Gibbs trying to utilize that shorter distance around this 1.5-mile racetrack.
Ty did a great job. He's going to have a good side draft down the back straightaway. Edge of 4 to the 22, down into 3. He's going to try to force taking the lead, take the line away from the 22. Good job. Ty Gibbs to the front.
Here comes the 20 of Harrison Burton. Had a little bit of a run, but on the inside of him, it was Allgaier who stops the run and now tries to take 3rd spot away from Harrison Burton.
Allgaier's been really fast around the bottom of the racetrack. We've seen it all day long. Even on long runs, Allgaier about the only car that runs the bottom. So on restarts, that should really work well for him.
Jeff Burton in the 10 on the bottom of the screen trying to get by Daniel Hemrick. Again, just 1 race remaining in the round of 8 for these playoff drivers. It will be Martinsville next week. And so they're trying to gain as many points as they possibly can. We know for sure at least 2 drivers in the playoffs will advance based on points. And a win guarantees you a position in the championship 4.
Cindric to the bottom here. Not going to have enough momentum down the back straightaway, but he's going to try to create a side draft here, slow down that 54. He does a good job. 54 to the quarter panel, trying to keep him there. Can't quite do it. 22 can come up the track, take his line away. Kind of repeat the process of how he lost the lead before.
In my opinion, a little bit of a mistake from Ty Gibbs. We've seen the top as the fastest way around the racetrack, but on older tires, he went to the top really soon, took the longest way around the racetrack. The 22 of Cindric on new tires just went around him on the bottom.
Oh, the 54, big moment right there. Way out of the gas. Allgaier able to close in.
And we've seen that out of Ty Gibbs a lot today. The back end kicking out on that 54, catching it, and he holds on to that 2nd spot.
He's scrappy. He's going to be fun to watch next year. He races these guys hard. 20 car getting around the 8 of Sam Mayer. Harrison Burton continuing pretty solid day for him, trying to work his way back up in the top 2.
And this restart's not been good for Harrison. He restarted 2nd and hasn't had the pace on this start.
It's a good run for that 8 of Sam Mayer, as you guys mentioned. I'm looking for this young driver to start finishing some runs like this. He has pace at times, but I think his experience, perhaps, or lack of, gets the best of him, and he kind of puts his car in bad positions. But here he is doing a nice job, patiently racing these guys. He's up inside the top 5. We'll see if he can finish the run off with 55 to go.
Yeah, it would be a career best day for him. His best finish so far in the Xfinity Series has been 9th at Atlanta.
We are good on fuel.
Okay, so that was a better decision by the 8. A decision we haven't seen from him several times. He tried to drive in there and slide and get in front. He couldn't do it, and he just quit trying rather than force it. Now, go fight another lap. So a good decision right there by Salmier. I know he gave up 2 spots, but you're not going to make every pass work. A young driver that's had trouble finishing races, that was the move you want to see him make.
And as we were watching that battle, we heard a radio say we were good on fuel. We're hearing that's the 22 of Cindric. I wondered, it was very close to their window if they could make it, but it appears the 22, the leader, feels he's good on fuel. We'll continue to monitor all the radios and see what the rest of the field thinks as the laps wind down.
And that's right on the outside of this fuel window, right? About 60 laps is when we restarted. That's what you thought maybe was the outside laps that they could make on fuel?
Well, but I'm pretty confident I was withheld some truth, some TV for my 20 years down in the garage area, so I don't know why they would tell me the truth. I mean, they gave me a good, close enough window.
Okay.
And every race is different, right? How much the lap times fall off, how much you're out of gas on old tires can really affect how much fuel can, you can burn over an entire fuel run and how far you can go. Hemrick lost some spots. He's 2 cars in front of Brandon Jones on board the Toyota car. Right here, the left front damage. It seems like when the tires age, Hemrick is okay on pace. It's brand new tires that the splitter, I'm sure, is on the ground because he could not go early on this run, Dylan.
Yeah, his biggest complaint was just that it felt like that damage was pulling the car, the left front of the car, into the corner, and he couldn't really trust it. But that was early in the run, so now you see him, he's moved up a little bit, feeling a little more comfortable with that race car. But want to just take a look at the points there in the bottom left of your screen. He's tied right now, but in that 4th spot. But just a great testament to Dave Rogers and this entire crew. Could have been down and out, patched this race car back together, and now if he's able to continue to click off some more spots, he's only 2 points behind Allgaier in 3rd. So been a really good day for these guys despite difficult circumstances.
17 points earned in stages today is going to help this 18 car have a decent day if he can finish in this location. And after you've spun down the backstretch with contact with another car, I think you've got to be happy to even be in this race still.
Hemrick, top 5 finishes already in the first 4 races of the playoffs for the 18 teams. We see Harrison Burton now fighting back, and he's going to clear the 7 of Justin Allgaier.
Oh,
almost clear the 7 of Justin Allgaier as Allgaier fights back on the outside.
That was a good decision there by Harrison too, because the 7 had so much momentum on him. To pull up in front of him right there would have given the 7 permission to punch it down the back straightaway.
A little tight racing here between these two. Marty, what's going on with Allmendinger?
Watching the battle for 3rd on the top of your screen. A.J. Allmendinger has had a frustrating day, Rick, to answer your question. Listen on the radio just a moment ago.
I'm plowing tight. I know I sound like an idiot screaming about it, but we got to maintain. We got to stay calm, and we got to maintain. We can't freak out. That's the main thing. We're not good. We know that. We get it. The last 2 races, we've been a 28th place car. We just got to maintain and get a bogey. That's all I got to work on right now.
Like on the golf course, just get a bogey and get out of here. And after that conversation, Chris Rice reminded this driver, A.J. Allmendinger, listen, we're just here to maintain. Right now, big picture. And the big picture is still plus 30. They go to Martinsville with that kind of points cushion. I think they feel pretty good about making the championship 4. But a frustrating day for Chris Rice and A.J. Allmendinger so far.
I think Chris is going to have to play golf with A.J. because A.J. is a pretty good golfer, and he would be frustrated with a bogey too. So I think the frustration comparison there to golf is probably not helping A.J. right now deal with what he's got with a race car.
Well, you heard him. It's not just this week. The last couple weeks, we have not been a very good race car. So this is kind of a accumulation of lackluster performance by their standards. I mean, we say lackluster. He's running 7th, so it's not all for naught. But it's just, Colleague Racing has turned into a winning organization by their hard work and the grind they put in each and every week. And it's frustrating to them when they don't show up with winning speed.
Yeah, Steve, when he said we're shooting for a bogey, I thought, wow, that's, for me, as the kind of golfer I'm in, I'm like, they need to win? Wait a minute.
There's debris on the front straightaway. The 07 car's lost a tire carcass going down into turn 1.
That brings the caution out, and Steve, teams that have tires, is it a big enough advantage after they've only run about 14 laps?
It's a huge advantage. I just don't know if you want to put them on yet, right? If you go run another 15 laps or so, I think you'd rather have about 20 to go. There's only 21 cars in the lead lap, so I think this is decision time for all of the cars that have a set of tires left. Let's look right here. It's the 07 up into the wall. I don't know if the tire's already flat or if this is what caused the tire to go flat. But either way, the flat tire then comes off the car.
Looks like half the tire. It's weird.
It's already been a long day for Joe Graff Jr. behind the wheel of that 07. As they're going to change the right side tires. Again, the carcass coming apart. Interliners on these, we're seeing, you know, the tires come off. Interliners on these mile-and-a-half racetracks.
Yeah, interliners get the car back to pit road. So it's going to be an interesting decision by all of these guys. And this is a real opportunity for some of the playoff cars that have struggled. So if I'm Brandon Jones or Justin Haley, who are currently 12th and 13th, I'm probably going to do what the leaders don't do. If the other playoff guys decide to put their tires on now, I probably stay on the racetrack and hope I get another yellow to do something. I haven't been able to outrun them all day. Why do I want to stay on the same strategy with them? Even though it would be frustrating to end the race with a set of tires in the pits, I would probably try to get off sequence and try to make something happen if I'm one of those two drivers towards the back.
Crew members climbing up on the wall, anticipating the possibility of their car coming down in front of them. Again, it'll be 44 laps to go next time by.
Pretty organized. Looks like all the leaders are going to come to pit road. We'll see if anyone else chooses to stay out or if everybody follows, Parker.
Right, Austin Cindric will lead them down. It was sort of a decision time there right at the start with pit lane if he was going to come in or not. He decides to come down and get those Ford Goodyear tires as well for Harrison Burton, who is still struggling with a bit of tight condition on that 20 car, getting those Ford Goodyear tires, Marty.
For the first time since that bad pit stop at the first of the race, Justin Allgaier finally back in the top 5, running fourth at the car just a little bit too free. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, and now the Jackman falls. They've had 2 crew members fall in this pit stall today. We'll see how many positions this costs us 7 this time.
And lost positions continuing for the 7 team as Brandon Jones is going to grab 6 spots. Did put new tires on, maybe holding those off for later. Cindric loses a spot. 4 spots lost by the 7 team on this stop. A little later tonight on NBC, USC taking on the Fighting Irish. Notre Dame currently 13th ranked in the country. And then it's Saturday Night Live. Jason Sudeikis and Randy Carlisle will be a part of Saturday Night Live. Have you watched Ted Lasso?
Oh, I love it. Great show. I'm excited to see Jason on Saturday Night Live. Just, I mean, such an amazing actor.
What about Beard? I love Beard, too.
That's like working with Jeff. So you see right here the Jackman on the 7, everything pretty good on the right side, goes around. It just seems like he just loses his footing. I'm not sure if he, you know, tripped on a lug nut or something we can't see on the screen. The Jack goes down. A good recovery. He does a nice job recovering, but definitely cost the 7. It said he lost 4 spots. I call it 2 because there was a couple guys that didn't take tires, so I don't think it was as bad as it looked. Let's listen into the 7.
We're like last of the cars. If you want to come back down and put us in a scuff back all we could and save that set for the end.
So there's conversation between the driver and the crew chief. The big conversation here is who has tires left. Most of the field does not, but there's a few exceptions. The 16 of Allmendinger, the 11 of Haley, and I believe the 1 of Annette. The 19 of Jones perhaps as well. He took gas only. So there's 3 or 4 guys that have 1 set of tires left. We get a caution with, say, 20 to go, and they will be the guys to try to beat.
And coming back to the green flag, Noah Gragson on the outside of row 1. A.J. Allmendinger on the inside. Green flag back in the air. "41 laps to go here at Kansas." And around the outside,
spinning.
Brandon Jones in the 19. Sideways, they avoid. And the caution will come out. A long slide for Brandon Jones. And Steve, they didn't take new tires.
They will now, Rick, I believe.
Did the 7 car get into this?
Yeah, there's a lot of cars that look like they may have had some contact or got close to making contact, trying to avoid. Looks like the 7 may have gotten lucky and avoided any kind of damage, but watch this 19 right in the middle of the racetrack. Just gets loose. Loses that side force on the right side of the car from the 22 driving by, going by so quickly on those newer tires.
And you got to ask yourself, Dale, if they did come and take fuel but not tires, now you have very little nose weight, old race car or old tires, and in a bad aero situation.
Yeah, when a car goes, when a car, there's a 7 car trying to work his way through there, gets a little bump from the 68, Brandon Brown. When a car goes by you on the outside this quickly,
Rolling, coming on your outside,
the car around.
outside, stay in it, stay in it, stay in it, stay in it.
Side, you lose enough side draft. But when a car's going by you quickly on the right side, it's even worse.
And another playoff driver spinning in front of the field without having major damage. I would say that Brandon Jones and Allgaier feel really lucky right here. Mike Snyder squeezing by Allgaier. Wow, that was a great job of getting around him.
And this is the 5th playoff driver with an issue, which is on par with everything that has happened at Kansas Speedway throughout the years.
Pretty incredible.
Playoff drivers have been involved. 5 of the 8 playoff drivers have been involved here at Kansas in incidents. This racetrack is difficult for playoff drivers.
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible move by Atlantic Castle, too, to avoid driving into the side of the 19 car. A lot of good moves by a lot of those guys. Everybody gets away in good shape. Marty, what you got on the 7 now?
Well, there's a lot happening on that restart, wasn't there, Junior? And for Justin Allgaier in the 7 car, said yes, he did lock up the tires just a little bit. No damage, though. Said he might have hit the right front a little bit, but he feels pretty good about where they are. And here's the replay of how Allgaier somehow made it through without any tire issues and also without any damage.
What's so impressive about what Allgaier did is he had to make that move, and Jeff Burton was on the outside of him. And he had to make the move right then, and it gave Jeb enough room without running into the side of him. Just a great job by Justin.
Yeah, did you see Jeb move too? Like Jeb in his peripheral sees the 7 car changing position, even just by a foot or so, and makes an adjustment himself. Kind of saved both those guys.
Parker.
As you can see here in the 19, Brandon Jones, remember he mentioned having some of that front end damage. They're just going to work here in the 19. They did change all 4 tires after that spin there off of turn 2. As you see the team just taking their time to make sure they can get that nose as patched up as perfect as they possibly can after that spin.
A lot more tape quite a few drivers taking advantage of tape today here in Kansas as we get ready for the choose rule once again. Brandon Jones will get out in front of the pace car, which will keep him on the lead lap.
So old tires on the front 6 drivers. Then you have Cindric, the first driver, on brand new tire, or well, I call them brand new, half a lap tires back in 7th. Harrison Burton the same. So we'll see if they try to choose the bottom to gain positions or if they'll stick with the top and the numbers. The 22 goes to the top, and so does the 20 of Harrison.
Gregson will be on the outside, Allmendinger on the inside for the restart. Daniel Hemrick also on that outside line. Ryan Sieg will be inside in row 2. Haley and Michael Annette in row 3.
It's interesting that the 16 on the front row of A.J. Allmendinger is gambling on this, saving a set of tires to give a caution, because earlier we heard radio from Chris Rice saying, hey, we just need to have a solid day and protect points. This strategy kind of goes on the other side of that, but they may feel like with all the issues of all the other, playoff guys, that let's just win and let's forget about points. That's kind of what this gamble would try to work out. We'll see if it works for him, Marty.
And with this caution, Steve, everyone up front who pitted at lap 137 who stayed out on that last caution, they are now good on fuel. Now, I don't know if the tires will hold out as well, but fuel-wise, they're good to the end of the race.
So now it's just a question of how many laps we'll get under caution versus under green and the speed. I expect that 22 of Cindric with those brand new tires to have a tremendous amount of speed, but will the 9 be able to get out there a little bit and gap themselves? Even if it doesn't work out for a win, you want to get out there as far as you can just to save positions when new tires get there.
Back up through the gears they go. Gregson and Allmendinger still side by side for the lead. Little help from Hemrick. And the 18 is going to push the 9 out front. Ryan Sieg falling back pretty quickly in the 39. Big run from Myatt Snyder in the 2 back there on the right side of the screen.
New tires on the 22, all the way up to 4th place.
He was able to clear everybody on the outside, and then right behind him, they got 3 wide and slowed up everybody else on that outside lane.
Hemrick trying to side draft the 16 of Allmendinger.
This might lose Hemrick a spot to the 22 if he's unable to get there. Yep, now the 22 will be on his outside.
Three wide and right through the middle, threads the needle. The 22 of Austin Cindric up to 2nd.
Just a great job by Cindric of getting through all that traffic with his newer tires. The next guy on new tires is Harrison Burton, but he's back in 7th.
Cindric looking for momentum as he gets closer to the championship 4. Already 5 wins this year, but he's been winless the last 9 races. And for the lead, Cindric has the nose in front when they cross the start-finish line with 34 laps to go.
Kind of surprised with the pace of the 9 car here on these older tires. And the decision to stay out. I think this race continues to go green. I didn't think that they would finish in the top 10, being down a 6.
Take care of your tires. No pressure. 6 to the 9, 8 to the 8.
I have to agree, Dale. I knew the 9 didn't have any choice in the matter, but I thought they were going to really get beat. But using that clean air out front, doing a really nice job, making the most of the day. I mean, remember, the 18 was kind of the accident. It came across the 9's nose. Poor Noah was just there. So you just have to recover, keep yourself in it.
There's the 18 of Hemrick. He's currently running in the 7th spot now, chasing after Ty Gibbs with the pressure from Allgaier on the inside in that 7.
And basically, guys that have a set of tires left, Haley, Allmendinger, they'd probably like to see maybe 10 or 12 more laps. They don't want a caution come out with 2 or 3 to go because there'd be too many cars to pass. They're going to want 20 laps or so to make those new tires work.
Yeah, looking at the way this is, going, how far back would they restart? I don't even know if I want to change tires now because it's going to be so difficult to drive back through the field, even with those newer tires. And a lot of cars on the lead lap here. 23 cars on the lead lap right now.
Austin Cindric with a 1 second lead over Noah Gragson on those older tires. Sam Mayer up here in the top 5. Harrison Burton, Ty Gibbs all up there as we go NASCAR nonstop. So much action up front here in the Xfinity Series. Tomorrow on NBCSN, it's the Cup Series turn. Countdown to green at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock racing. Again, another locked-in spot available for the playoff drivers. And a very hot Kyle Larson coming in here with 8 wins already on the season. Everything wrapped up with NASCAR America post-race show at 6:30 tomorrow.
This battle right here having a huge slow up for Harrison Burton in that 20. Ty Gibbs is able to catch him and get by. Ty Gibbs now the next guy behind Cindric with new tires. Harrison turns underneath the 9 car, but just can't clear him, and then guys come from behind to get by him. Gotta make this fast. Marty.
Meanwhile, behind them, Justin Allgaier sitting in the 6th spot, turning some quick lap times. But a moment ago on the radio said, I have a left side vibration. Crew members have their helmets on. So far, no activity. He said, are you sure you got all the lug nuts tight? Jason Burdett said yes, but he is watching closely.
We didn't mention Sam Mayer as a spoiler to start the show off, but how about the 8 of Sam Mayer running up here in the top 5 now? Harrison Burton still trying to get by the 9 of Gragson. These two fighting for that spot.
The 9 goes down on the apron, the side draft of 20.
Harrison just needs to be a little more assertive right here, and that's what he needs to do. Just take the line away, get back to the high line. The 9's going to go to the inside here, but side draft, be aggressive. Man,
that word aggressive, that's what Harrison has used when we've talked to him. He said, that's the one thing I haven't been doing this year, is being as aggressive as I should be. And now he's through the middle of the contact.
No!
Harrison up into the wall hard. Burton into the wall. The 9 of Noah Gragson collected as well.
Huge implications for Noah Gragson right here with the playoffs. Harrison was already in a position where he was almost going to have to win at Martinsville, but not for Noah. Noah's in a really good position with points.
You see the points on the screen as each car goes by.
Gragson, window net down. We saw Harrison Burton putting his window net down. AMR safety team to both drivers. And now, once again, we mentioned must-win situations. Is it going to be that way for multiple drivers? Brandon Jones, Harrison Burton, potentially Noah Gragson.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you go to Martinsville, and the guys that are in the green, they're going to have great days. They're going to run well. That's the way you got to assume they're going to run at Martinsville, and you're going to have to go in there and steal the show.
And in racing, only one is able to win. So if you're going to win your way in, who can do it? Well, we've seen Harrison Burton do it before. He won a year ago at Martinsville.
Those 3 cars, the 20, the 9, and the 8, had been racing, swapping positions for the last handful of laps. And right there, it just seemed like they got 3 wide off turn 4, and there was some contact. See Harrison get out. For a big hit for Harrison. Good to see her get out.
Mandatory trip to the infield care center. You see him waving to the fans here at Kansas. Tough racing. We've seen it all day here at Kansas.
So now the drivers that have tires left will come to pit road, and some other drivers might come to put some cooler scuffs on. That, I think, is an advantage for the 11 and the 16, who I know have brand new tires left. Marty.
Yeah, brand new tires for A.J. Allmendinger. Still struggling with the handling of that race car. They're going to come put those 4 fresh Goodyear tires on here. 20 to go. Get the green with what, about 17, 18 to go. It's going to be a really good run for the 16 potentially. Meanwhile, coming to pit road, Justin Allgaier. Remember, you had that left side vibration? They're going to put on 19 laps, got Goodyear tires. We'll see if that helps them out a little bit, Dylan.
Daniel Hemrick at the top of your screen. Remember, they are out of new tires, so trying to find the most gently used set to put on this wounded 18 car. Daniel said that it was really loose on takeoff, so going to try to get the nose lowered into the racetrack, help it get through the corner a little bit better, and then put those older tires on along with fuel for Hemrick.
Look at the replay here. The 8 car on the inside. They come off a 4, and the 8 just comes up and clips the 20 in the left rear. And Harrison just has no control at that point. Harrison's trying to get to the inside of the 9.
Huge impact right there. Rear tires off the ground.
You just got to assume it's missed timing from the 8. I don't think it's anything malicious. It's just a mistake. Want to get right up behind the 20, probably get the draft, try to get inside the 9. It just mistimes it. Catches the left rear quarter panel of the 20. Will wreck the 20 and his teammate in the 9. A mistake out of the young driver in the 8. We talked about speed, but trying to get it to the finish. This mistake right here won't cost the 8 any positions, but it will cost the 20 and the 9.
Look at how high the rear tires came off the ground on Harrison's car. That's a huge impact. Look at that.
Yeah, the 9 pushing on that passenger side as well as he was going in. So now, playoff drivers, what a day they have had. And virtually all have been affected. Lug nuts falling off the 16 on a pit stop. A long right front change for Allmendinger.
And the 7, Jackman falls going around the front of the car. Does a nice job recovering, but some spots were lost.
Noah Gragson, Daniel Hemrick making contact. Both had damage, but were able to carry on. Not too much damage to have good speed.
Brandon Jones spinning on old tires. Everybody avoids. And then this crash right here, Sam Mayer gets into the left rear quarter panel of the 20 car of Harrison Burton, sends him up the racetrack, takes out the 20 and the 9 car of Gregson.
We mentioned earlier how Kansas has been difficult for playoff drivers. Look at how many of the round of 8 have been involved in accidents or issues here at this racetrack for the number of years that we've been coming here. 6 years in a row, you've had at least 5 of the 8 drivers involved.
Yeah, it's tough to try to maintain your position here, and because of it, when you look at the points, Cindric currently leading, Allmendinger plus 48, but this only tells part of the story, right? While the 9 is going to the garage area, Haley at minus 13, he's now lined up inside the top 15 with brand new tires. Allmendinger's 11th, brand new tires. Brandon Jones 9th with new tires. So they may be scuffs or stickers on Brandon Jones. We have to confirm that, but I know that Allmendinger and Haley both had a set of stickers left. So you got to assume that this restart with 18 to go currently is going to be crazy. These guys want to win. That's the guarantee for next week, that you don't have to worry about Martinsville and to know you have a shot at the championship a week later.
We've seen Brandon Jones be aggressive on the racetrack. Right now scored in the 9th position and 35 points below the cut line right now for Brandon Jones. Allmendinger, Allgaier, Haley, Hemrick all behind him. Can Harrison Burton, Noah Gragson out of their race cars and out of this race.
You talked about all the issues for the playoff drivers here at Kansas. I don't know what it is about the playoffs this year, both on Saturdays and Sundays, but the non-playoff drivers and the playoff drivers, the line has never been blurred this much. You know, I want to believe in my career, as I've watched these races and called them with you, Rick, that there was a lot of positions conceded by non-playoff drivers. And now right there, I mean, a mistake by Sam Mayer, you know, nothing on purpose, but the fact is that mistake cost 2 playoff drivers. And I want to believe 4 or 5 years ago, I just don't see these non-playoff guys, you know, contesting. I think they say, you know what, you guys passed me, I'm going to let you go fight it out. This young man, full-time at Junior Motorsports next year, you know, he's trying to race for his partners, and I understand it. But the conversation all week long with the fan base was how playoff and non-playoff drivers would race one another. And every week I say, nah, it's not a story. It'll calm down. And every week I'm proved wrong. And once again, we see it. A non-playoff driver making contact with a playoff driver who happens to take out another playoff driver, which is Sam Mayer's teammate, the 9 of Noah Gragson. And now we have a restart with fresh tires back a little bit farther. If we get a nice wide shot, we're going to see Allgaier, Allmendinger, and what they have in front of them. 17 to go, 16 to go when you take the green. So if you look back about 5 or 6 rows on the bottom of the racetrack, you see that 11. Justin Haley, that's brand new tires to his outside, his teammate, the 16 of Allmendinger. Both gambled, saved a set of tires, and now they are going to have a chance.
Yeah, Steve, you mentioned the non-playoff drivers racing the playoff drivers. And, you know, listen, they have an opportunity to win this race. They need to try. There's no question about it. It's very frustrating as a playoff driver, though. You know, like, gosh, I've earned my way here. I've earned the opportunity to race for a playoff. But Sam Mayer's trying to figure out how to be a race car driver. We talked about it a lot with Sam. He's fast, but he steps over his toes a little bit sometimes and gets into trouble. That's just an example. He's got to go back and look at it and just say, how can I be better? What can I do be in that situation? What could I have done differently so that he can be a better race car driver? Speed is not an issue with this young man. He is going to go fast.
And let's not forget, that's what this series is for, right?
Right.
This is Saturday, right? These are the younger, up-and-coming stars who hope to make it happen on Sunday.
Learning every single lap now. 16 laps to go from Kansas. For Cindric, it's a guaranteed spot in the championship 4. For Ty Gibbs, potentially another win. Not in the playoffs. 3 wide, here comes Brandon Jones in the 19.
That bright yellow Brandon Jones to his outside, the 16 of Allmendinger. Look at Allmendinger in the middle, 3 wide, right on the door of Jones. He knows he has to go. He has to make these new tires work. He's going to do it. 15 to go. I think Allmendinger has a chance to run the leaders down.
That was an aggressive move by Allmendinger. You're talking about a guy that just needs to have a solid day, and he gets his left side on the right side of that 19. Easily the 19 could have spun out and taken him with him.
Even if he doesn't run the leaders down, this strategy is going to net them a really, really solid finish. One that they probably weren't going to have had this strategy not been pulled. So good job by Chris Rice and all those guys. He's going to try to get up through there, change the leaders down, but solid work on this 16 team today.
Oh, I don't think it's if. I think it's how soon. I mean, he just went into turn 3 right there and just went to the bottom. It just blew by Myatt Snyder. Myatt's been fast all day, so great indication how fast this 16 car is.
So he takes over third and down the back straightaway, has a little clear traffic between him and the 2 leaders, Ty Gibbs, Austin Cindric.
Big advantage he's got on these new tires. Shortest way around the racetrack, right? The other 2 guys, they got to use all the racetrack. Their tires a little bit worn out. They're going to be faster on the top. But this 16 car, he can get the shortest way around the racetrack. Nope, goes to the top this time.
Trying to keep that momentum up as Allmendinger looking for his 6th win of the season.
And it's not just Allmendinger. His teammate Justin Haley has not had a good day, has missed out on a lot of the stage points, only scoring 3 today. For that reason, he's below the cut line, but here he is inside the top 6. New tires, gaining points, Parker.
Right, and Harrison Burton released from the infield care center. Harrison, just want to talk about that bump from Sam Mayer. Was it just ill-timed?
Yeah, I guess so. I haven't had a good time to watch it, really. I don't know. I just crashed and got right out of the infield care center, so I haven't had a good time to look at it. It felt like it just, I don't know, I just got hit and got headed towards the fence. Such a bummer. We were so fast today. It felt like this was one of our better races, and we were really building on it, and just needed a different outcome, but that's all right. We'll go to Martinsville and try and kick their tail.
That's a must-win position for Harrison. Go to Martinsville, guys.
And the gap is closed. Here comes Ty Gibbs in the 54, all over the back bumper of Austin Cindric.
They've driven away from Allmendinger. So Allmendinger's only hope is for these 2 to make contact. It's down to these 2.
54 is going to drive down into turn 3, try to clear him, get up into that top groove, take the line away. Cindric backs the corner up, tries to get a charge off the exit. It's not going to be enough to bring the fight back to Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, not even close, really. Cindric got really slow in the middle of the corner. He looks like he's falling off his feet pretty bad right here.
I mentioned both Collett cars that were on that strategy. I failed to mention the 02 of Brett Moffitt, that Our Motorsports car, also on this strategy inside the top 5, just working on passing Sam Mayer in the 8. Not a playoff car, but deserves a tip of the hat. A great gamble by the 02 paying off with a nice run.
He's 7th in this race last year, so he come in here, even at the start of the race, we saw him making moves on restarts with a lot of confidence in this car.
Big run by Haley in the 11. And he goes to the outside now. Moffitt trying to take that spot away. Parker.
Noah Gragson also released here from the infield care center. You're involved in that incident with Harrison Burton and Sam Mayer. Is it frustrating to have a non-playoff driver affect you like this?
Yeah, I thought Harrison was doing a great job, and myself, it's just, you know, we're racing for a championship. Harrison didn't do anything wrong, but there he goes again. Just a bummer. Proud of this number 9 Bass Pro Shop team. A lot of fun. We kind of out of tires with the contact with Hemrick there on the restart. And, you know, hung on really well for the tires we were on. And so great pit stops. Thank you, Johnny Morris, Rusty Sellers, everybody at Bass Pro Shops, True Timber. It's a bummer, but we're really good at Martinsville. We finished 3rd there last year, 2nd earlier in the spring. So, you know, I'll get the situation from today handled, and we'll go to battle next week as a team. Just very thankful for the opportunity today to race here at Kansas.
You can tell that both these drivers are going to be most likely in a must-win position heading Martinsville, guys.
Yeah, projected. You look at the points now. Gregson, Brandon Jones, Harrison Burton, all minus 23 to minus 50 as far as points go. There's Brandon Jones in the 19, falling back to Allgaier. Under 7 laps to go, and Gibbs already has put almost 0.8 of a second between himself and 2nd place Austin Cindric.
Good interview there from Noah, you know, just pretty collected. Hey, you know, I'll go take care of that this week, meaning he'll go talk to his young teammate. But going to Martinsville, Noah Gregson's a winner there. He won a truck race at Martinsville, his first truck race win. So he's got a lot of confidence that he can go win. Dylan,
Well, guys, Justin Haley, you talked about them playing this strategy perfectly. It has been a, quite frankly, terrible day. They've been loose all day long and have thrown everything at it. Couldn't quite get anything to work, but this strategy is going to take them from potentially a minus 23-point situation, which they were at earlier in this race, to now they sit minus 7. So came in here minus 6, going to lose just a point, and that's going to put them in a much better spot going to Martinsville next week, but a great recovery for this 11 team.
And if the 54 holds on to win this race, that means 3 positions will be based on points at Martinsville next week. And so that puts a lot of these people back in contention if you've got someone who wins. But Cindric and Allmendinger comfortably now 1 and 2 in the points. Cindric would be a lot more comfortable if he could get up here and catch the 54 and win this race and lock himself into the championship 4.
And Haley back there in that 11 car. Remember, he told us a few days ago that they got to Phoenix a couple years last year by just being consistent, being smart, and so far that's helped him today as well. Let's see if he can take advantage and move into it after Martinsville.
54 car so impressive this year. 5 wins for Kyle Busch, 3 for Ty Gibbs, trying to add to that today. Christopher Bell, John Hunter Nemechek a week ago, all taking it to victory lane.
I think that's what exactly what I was thinking, Rick, is it's difficult to take so many different drivers and put a car underneath them without practice, without really understanding what drivers really prefer. To put just a race-winning car on the racetrack every single week for these guys to go out and compete in, and they do it. From the young guys, the veterans, it's given John Hunter Nemechek an opportunity to show what he's capable of. Obviously, it's gotten us excited about this young man, Ty Gibbs.
And Chris Gale, crew chief, Stevie told us several months ago, he said, hey, man, they took me out of Cup, put me in Xfinity. So what I said is, I'm going to build the fastest Xfinity cars in the world. I'm going to put myself in a position where people won't be back in Cup, and he's done exactly that.
Yeah, we have the 54 of Gibbs leading Cindric, Allmendinger, Haley, and how about Ryan Sieg back there in 5th? He just passed Moffitt for the 5th position. Great call by the 39 and looking to have another good run at Kansas.
It's 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. At just 19 years old, he turned that about 3 weeks ago. Ty looking to become just the 6th driver under the age of 20 to reach 4 Xfinity Series wins, and all 5 prior have won at the Cup level. So a bright future for the grandson of Coach Joe Gibbs as he makes his way for the final time through turns 3 and 4, looking for his 4th win, first time here in Kansas. And it's going to be Ty Gibbs winning at Kansas Speedway.
Let's go. Love you guys. This is all. Let's go. Awesome job, bud. Awesome job. Proud of you.
What a season it has been. As we mentioned, he's going to be getting into the ARCA car a little bit later on this evening. And the second that race starts, he will be the champion in the ARCA Racing Series this year. What a season it's been for him there, but also here in the Xfinity Series. Started the season off with such promise, winning at the road course at Daytona, getting his first Xfinity Series win. And at 19 years old, he becomes the youngest driver to win 4 Xfinity Series races. Normally going into the last race of a round, we would say, well, this driver has locked themselves in, or this driver has locked themselves in to the championship 4. But it's been a crazy season, a crazy playoffs time, because right now, Austin Cindric and A.J. Allmendinger both are 47 points above the line. So either one, if they have issues at Martinsville next week, they could fall out of the playoffs. So nobody is locked in right now. As Ty Gibbs celebrates win number 4. A great race car and a very talented driver. And down there at the finish line with him, Marty.
How about the performance for Ty Gibbs, who seems to be relishing this one? Chris Gale, the entire 54 team, back-to-back wins for this team. I think they're running out of room for stickers over here, for win stickers. Hey, Ty, walk me through that restart and how you were able to get by Austin Cindric in the 22.
Yeah, you know, it was, man, what a day. First of all, I'll say, you know, all glory to, you know, my Father above. You know, everything, you know, goes to him, and this is awesome. And, you know, I can't thank everybody that helps me, Monster Energy, and, you know, everybody that's a part of this deal. And, you know, I'm just so blessed, and I just want to say thank you. And this is just wonderful.
How did you get by at the 22 there?
Sorry, I forgot to answer your question. I'm lots of words right now. You know, I just feel like he got a little bit free and just kind of slowed down a little bit in 3 and 4, and I could just get to his left rear and just side draft him and get away from him. And luckily, I pulled out with it. I got loose a couple times over there, but you know, I was just trying to give it my all. Just trying to come back with the win. To have 4 wins this year in the Xfinity Series is just unbelievable. And like I said, all glory to the man above. And you know, I wouldn't be here if it was without him.
What an incredible year for this young man, who's only halfway done, as you mentioned, Rick. He's got the ARCA race later tonight and claiming a title there.
All smiles when he got his first win at Daytona. It was very emotional. I think it was overwhelming for him. Now he's becoming a little more comfortable there on victory lane with the wins. Plenty more still to come from here at Kansas.